Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Congratulations to all y'all being here a little bit early. All these early birds. That's good. That's good. A big congratulations to Andrea over on YouTube for first comment of the day. Now, folks, we got a lot to get into today, but I want to remind you, if you haven't done it yet, follow us on multiple platforms. That includes youtube.com/Canary Cry Radio, twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, DLive, Periscope. We're all over the place, folks, which is important because you never know when we'll mysteriously disappear from your favorite platform. As always, also remember to subscribe to the RSS feed. That's just your normal podcast. You can find that on podcast players all over the place. Just search Canary Cry News Talk and subscribe. We post a non-live increased sound quality version every day after the show. So if you miss one, you can always find it again. I want to thank everybody who has been posting for the Canary Cry Silver drawing this month. And remember, if you want to join the drawing, go ahead and post about us on social. Use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk and post a link to something. Okay, stay hydrated, folks. Let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 10th, 2021. This is episode 298. And today, Tech Eat World. That's right, folks, and I am not your beloved robot butler, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today, I got some new garb on. Let me just
new fit,
show you
as
guys
the kids call it. Oh my gosh, Canary Swole Radio. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh. Nice.
That's right.
For those who are not watching live, Gonz is standing up, showing his gigantic muscles, just so expertly sheathed in the Canary Swole Radio tank top. You can find your own over at canarycrymerchperch.com.
Oh yeah, I don't have the jingle ready, but
that's okay. That's why I just had mine ready.
Yeah. I just realized how much my tan has gone away. I used to be a nice golden colored, but I am alas.
Well, it's the winter time. It's the long dark winter.
The long dark winter. Yeah, this brought me back too because I was thinking, man, I really gotta get back into better shape. And I was thinking back to my youth, Mm-hmm. I had a glorious youth, Basil. I don't think you realize how significant my
it's because you're all shredded from swimming.
Well, I wasn't. Well, I was very fit. I wasn't shredded. I don't think when you're 10, 11, 12 years old, you can be that shredded. But
I don't know, man. I've seen some shredded.
Yeah, those guys are. I don't know. I don't trust those little kids that are all ripped.
They're all popped up on steroids.
I did pull up something that I found kind of interesting. This is, for those of you watching on the screen, this is the all-time top 100 age group swimming times for the 100-yard backstroke.
Okay.
And so you can see all the people here that the fastest guy ever in 2008, blah, blah, blah. You scroll down, guess who's number 33 on the list of all time? That's me.
Is it you?
It's me, yeah.
You are number 33 on the all-time swimming cool guy list?
Yeah, all-time 11, 12 years old. I'm on here a few times, but the highest rank I have is 33rd.
What are the odds?
I know, what are the odds? And I'm tied for 33rd,
Gons,
too.
if you're really in the Illuminati, you legally have to tell me or else it's entrapment.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing that's crazy is this is my claim to fame here. 88th in that event, Michael Phelps. That's right. I was ahead of Michael Phelps.
Wow, you
at one
beat
point in
Michael
life.
Phelps.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's fun.
I mean, that's pretty cool, actually. Wow.
It is, but that was when I was 100 pounds lighter.
Oh, yeah. Weren't we all? Well, that is very cool. Is this info that you've just been sitting on and you just now decided to release, or did it just occur to you recently?
I look it up periodically to see, who's come in and who's, either I didn't know I was 33rd, but actually I was just looking to see like where I was in the rank a few days ago. And
are those ongoing records? Even new kids are being put on this list?
Yeah, the only people from the 90s ahead of me are a couple Olympians. There's a couple guys in here. But anyway, yeah, this is ongoing. There's one guy from 1984. People think he was a Nephilim. He's like the only guy from the 80s.
This guy before.
It's the only guy from the 80s. He's like 12 years old and he had like full body of hair and armpit hair and stuff. It was very strange.
That's interesting. Even after all these years, your record's only been beat by, or been topped by 32 other people.
Yeah, but that's, it's not that impressive.
It's pretty impressive, Gons, and a little bit too coincidental.
I know. I need somebody else to pick up the slack there. Come on, 11, 12-year-old swimmers out there, pick up the pace.
That's crazy.
You need to get in front of me. Yeah. So
okay.
Anyway,
well, very good, and you look great in the Canary Swole Radio tank top.
Yeah.
If you're a gym rat like Gons and I, you can go ahead and head over to canarycrimemerchperch.com. The producer-run merch shop. This is not run by us, and everything is sold at cost for those Canarians, trying to keep the price down, but you do have an opportunity to tip the webmaster, the artist, and if you want, you can tip us. Now, I will say, Gons, just because we're on the topic, very interesting thing happened today, which was I was putting together the list of producers for today's show, and there was 0 producers on the PayPal.
Oh,
yes, this has never happened before. Thankfully, we had a couple people come in on the Patreon. But yeah, I think this is the first show in the entire year that we've been doing this format that has had 0 PayPal producers. So I say So I say that to say, if somebody out there was hoping to jump in and produce a show, I will be keeping an eye out on the email list. So if you want to produce the show today, you can jump on during the show right now and become a producer. You can do that by going to canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. Okie dokie. Well, should we just get into the show?
Yeah, but make sure.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
Yes, that's right.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, folks, it's time for the Flippy update. And if you're new to the show, here's what's going down. Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a proxy conversation to talk about how robots and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, I'm taking our Flippy update from TechCrunch.com. The headline is, oopsies, I went off of it. Hyundai shrinks its walking car robot to carry cargo, gets rides from drones.
Ooh.
Oh my Yeah, we're going straight. This is like I've played many video games that this happens in, but let's get into it. Hyundai Motor Group is back with a new walking car robot that can use its wheels to roll along a path or stand up and navigate tougher terrains on its legs. This time, the concept is designed to carry cargo and is small enough to be carried by a drone. So just to remind everybody, we've been tracking Hyundai because they purchased Boston Dynamics earlier this year or late last year because they just wanted to acquire its very fancy leg tech to make walking cars. And so this is their sort of second reveal of their future plans to put legs on your car. It says here the Tiger robot.
Rawr.
Short. What?
I said rawr.
Rawr.
Tiger.
Wow, wow. The Tiger robot, short for Transforming Intelligent Ground Excursion Robot, is they really made that one work. Is the first unscrewed.
Unscrewed too, maybe with a few extra
is the
cans
first
of oil.
Uncrewed ultimate I'm sorry, I'm all thrown off now. Okay, here we go. Taking another running start. The Tiger robot, short for Transforming Intelligent Ground Excursion Robot, is the first uncrewed ultimate mobility vehicle, UMV, concept to come out of the New Horizons studio, the Mountain View, California facility that is home to Hyundai Motor Group's UMV development. Tiger follows in the wheeled footsteps of Elevate, a larger concept of vehicle designed to carry people that the company unveiled in 2019 at the CES Tech Trade Show. While concepts don't always translate into real products, New Horizons studio head John Su told TechCrunch that his aim is to bring Tiger to life, quote, as soon as possible, adding that it would likely be a 5-year process. Sue said the team will spend the next 2 years focused on solving some core technical problems to establish a baseline design. In 2023 and 2024, the team will get to the beta product stage, and advanced testing will begin before finally becoming a product customers can buy. Today's version of the Tiger is based on a modular platform architecture, just like its larger cousin. The robot has a leg and wheel locomotion system, 360-degree directional control, a storage bay that can carry goods, and a range of sensors for remote observation. It's also designed to connect to a drone, which can charge the robot while flying to its destination. The Tiger has 2 modes that are deployed depending on the terrain. On smoother, less complex surfaces, the robot's legs retract and the vehicle uses all 4 wheels to move. If the vehicle gets stuck or faces an obstacle like a small wall, berm, or log, it can stand up, lock the wheels, and then walk. This is the first version of Tiger, known as X1 for experimental, suggesting New Horizons will be bringing out more variants in the future. This one was created in partnership with engineering design software company Autodesk and concept design firm Sundberg Farrar. So there you go, Gauntz. A big leg up for Hyundai. Really pushing for this concept, this vehicular concept of not only a car with legs, but with a drone that can pick it up and fly it around. This is, in the world of Tesla and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and everybody trying to make the craziest tech advances possible, Hyundai really coming out as a dark horse, coming from the back of the pack to really stretch the limits of our imagination. And the 5-year time frame is pretty incredible. I mean that in the most literal term. It's not credible. I mean, 5 years would be... Can you imagine 5 years? We can have a robot, a walking car, and a detachable drone to fly us around.
Well,
helicopter, walking mech, and car all put together.
Here's the thing. I bet a walking car already exists to some extent.
Well, I'm sure it exists, but not commercially available.
Right. Well,
I can't go out and buy a walking car.
Well, Depends on how much Bitcoin you have.
Where could I find this walking car? But anyways, I mean, this is pretty intense. Now, luckily, I don't think necessarily anybody's going to lose their jobs to this walking car. But as we discussed on the first episode, we talked about this walking car from Hyundai. This is really going to change, police chases. All these cars that, you rob a bank, you start driving away, you get followed by cops. Your car can walk over a fence to get away, or over a berm, or, if you really want to make a quick getaway, just get your little drone to come pick you up.
Yeah, that's the part that would be hilarious. I can picture you're in a car chase, you go into a tunnel in a mountain, and these guys can't keep up, so the drone comes and picks him up and is waiting on the other side of the exit.
It's pretty intense. And there's been lots of companies that, they don't necessarily have to be beholden to this 5-year time frame, but if indeed they do plan on keeping this time frame, 5 years is going to be it's going to be the future we are all waiting for.
Oh, yay. That sounds like fun. Basil
we'll
and his
have our
walking
vaccine
car.
passports.
Yeah.
We'll have our flying cars. And let's see, Jeff Bezos will be the supreme ruler of the North American continent.
Oh, you're just very...
But we will have, residential suburbs on the moon. So that's something to look forward to.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
Okay.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
This story is kind of creepy. This is newscientist.com. There's a lot of robot talk today, a lot of AI, as the name of the episode, Tech Eat World. We're going back to our roots a little bit, but it just seems like every time I sit down to put together an episode, just a list of stories, there's always a theme that emerges naturally. Like, I don't look for things per se. I don't look for, we're going to talk about this today. It's more like, okay, what's the most interesting thing out there, and what's the common theme? And for this episode,
follow where the mainstream leads.
Yeah, where the news stories are going.
Civilians.
And today it's all about robots and AI, and it just gets pretty crazy and wild. But this story, robot that looks like a bin bag can understand what a hug is.
A bin bag. This is a UK story?
Maybe.
Because I think a bin bag, that's a trash bag in UK speak.
Yeah, but it looks like Cornell University, New York. But it says here, soft robot with translucent, quote-unquote, skin can detect human touch with internal cameras and differentiate between a prod, a stroke, or a hug.
Ooh.
The technology could lead to better nonverbal communication between humans and robots. Guy Hoffman and his colleagues at Cornell University, New York, created a prototype robot with nylon skin stretched over 1.2 meter tall cylindrical scaffold atop a platform on wheels. Inside the cylinder sits a commercial USB camera, which is used to interpret different types of touch on the nylon. And there's a video here for those of you who are watching, and I'll kind of narrate because they have some. Actually, I think there's.
A soft robot can detect human touch.
There we go.
Using internal cameras, it can differentiate between a prod, a stroke, or a hug. The technology could lead to better non-verbal communication between humans and robots. Researchers at Cornell University created a prototype robot with nylon skin stretched over a 1.2 meter tall cylindrical scaffold.
First off, this little cylindrical scaffold thing looks like a robot KKK member because it's...
Jeez.
It's the first thing I thought of. It's like this white bag with a pointy tip. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like a trash bag.
Atop a platform on wheels. Inside the cylinder sits a commercial USB camera, which is used to interpret different types of touch on the nylon. The robot was then trained to respond to different gestures. Touch sensitivity in robots currently requires heavy and expensive sensors and electronics. This approach is a low-tech and low-cost alternative.
Okay, the other thing that it reminds me of, ever see the show or the movie Big Hero 6?
Mm-hmm.
Baymax, which is one of the main robots there, is this, he's got like this internal frame. It's kind of wiry, just like a normal looking robot, but his exterior is all this inflated, white trash bag looking thing. So this is
he's
kind
like
of
a balloon,
like a balloon
bot.
Yeah, and this is kind of, I feel like this technology is where that is headed in general. But yeah, I mean, it's always kind of weird when they're like, yeah, robots that can feel your hugs and touch and differentiate all that. Can it really, or does it just doesn't, because it's all the way humans are reporting it?
They're learning to love, Gons.
No.
Oh.
My analysis of that, no.
Okay.
But they are at least trying to make it seem like they're more human-ish, I guess, personhood.
Always are.
Yeah. So I just thought that was an interesting story that again, just tracking the progress with all this stuff.
Okay. While we're blasting through our robot minute, this is like a extended Flippy update section, but it's been kind of a dry spell for robotics lately, and things are starting to pick up a little bit. So we've been talking about delivery robots, and the putting out of work of all the delivery drivers, food delivery, Uber people, things like that, has been a saving grace for a lot of people in economic hardships during the pandemic. And here's a little update from markets.businessinsider.com. Doordash buys robot food prep company Chowbotics. And I just love the name Chowbotics. It's probably the best name for a robot company ever. DoorDash is buying automated food prep company Chowbotics to expand its fresh meal offerings. San Francisco-based DoorDash announced the acquisition Monday. Terms of the deal, which closed late last year, weren't disclosed. Hayward, California-based Chowbotics, which was founded 7 years ago, makes a refrigerator-sized robot called Sally that can store up to 22 prepared ingredients. Sally uses those ingredients to make up to 65 salads, bowls, and other meals at a time. Prior to this year, Chowbotics had sold around 125 of its 35,000 robots, or $35,000 robots, mostly to universities, medical centers, and grocery stores. But the company said sales jumped during the pandemic as customers looked for touch-free ways to dispense food. DoorDash said Chowbotics' robot could allow its restaurant partners to offer more varieties of meals without having to expand their kitchen space. Other DoorDash merchants like convenience stores could also use it to expand into fresh foods. Chowbotics CEO Rick Wilmer said DoorDash's reach will help his company grow. DoorDash offers delivery from 390,000 merchants in the U.S., Canada, and Australia, and is the food delivery market leader in the U.S. DoorDash said Chowbotics' staff are now DoorDash employees. But otherwise, Chowbotics will continue to operate independently and has no plans to change its name. So this is actually not a delivery. Now, DoorDash, of course, being the delivery company, but this is like a vending machine and a kitchen all put into one. So again, really one of those futuristic things coming to reality. I think like the Jetsons had a refrigerator that made its own food and, just gave you prepared food right out of it. And that's this situation. So DoorDash no longer just delivering food, but having robots make it right before your eyes.
Are they going to have some kind of robot celebrity food preparationer? Like a... I don't know, just a robot that like exclusively does.
What's that British guy? What's the mean British guy?
Something Irvine?
No. Oh man, who's the mean cooking man?
There's a lot of cooking people.
No, the one
one
who's always cursing people out.
Gordon Ramsay. Pale
Thank you,
Norse.
Pale Norse. That's a funny name.
Yeah.
Pale Norse. Yes. So you have a Gordon Ramsay style robot.
That's very Futurama. You know, he's yelling at you.
That's exactly what came to my mind as well.
Yeah, you know, this is I don't know, because this could be, I don't know. There's partly what kind of human interventions are there going to be? Because first off, the humans have to still load the food, the ingredients, right? And if some ingredient goes bad and a whole bunch of people get sick, you know, can the robot test for that, or are they liable? Is Doordash going to be liable?
You got to pay extra.
It just seems like, and I pulled up this jingle because we haven't used it in a while. It feels like a robot mob taking over.
Yeah, see, yeah. There's a new boss in town. See, yeah.
Cooking your pizza. Robot pizza maker.
Yeah, that's good.
So, yeah, a lot of robot talk again today. Anything else on Chowbotics?
Nope, speaks for itself. Watch out, refrigerators. Chowbotics is coming for you.
Yeah,
for some reason, my brain has such a hard time just processing the word Chowbotics.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, me too. We came up with this concept of a Wormicorn, or we discovered a Wormicorn long, long ago in an episode far, far away. But this story here, it just brings it all together. The headline here from phys.org: collective worm and robot blobs protect individuals swarm together.
Oh.
Yeah. Individually, California blackworms live an unremarkable life, eating microorganisms in ponds and serving as tropical fish food for aquarium enthusiasts. But together, tens, hundreds, or thousands of the centimeter-long creatures can collaborate to form a worm blob, a shape-shifting living liquid that collectively protects its members from drying out and helps them escape threats such as excessive heat. While other organisms form collective flocks, schools, or swarms for such purposes as mating, predation, or protection, the Lumbriculus variegatus variegatus worms are unusual in their ability to braid themselves together to accomplish tasks that unconnected individuals cannot. A new study reported by researchers at the Georgia Institute of Technology describes how the worms self-organize to act as entangled, quote, active matter, creating surprising collective behaviors whose principles have been applied to help blobs of simple robots evolve their own locomotion. The research, supported by the National Science Foundation and the Army Research Office, was reported February 5th in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Findings from the work could help developers of swarm robots understand how emergent behavior of entangled active matter can produce unexpected, complex, and potentially useful mechanically driven behaviors. Let's see. Let's do a quote here from Saad Bamla from, where's he from? I don't know, researcher in California. Quote, "We were curious about why these worms would form these living blobs," said Bamla, an assistant professor in Georgia Tech School of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering, so not California. He continues, "We have now shown through mathematical models and biological experiments that forming the blob confers a kind of collective decision-making that enables worms in a larger blob to survive longer against desiccation." I think that's desiccation. We also showed that they can move together, a collective behavior that's not done by any other organism we know of at the macro scale. Such collective behavior in living systems is of interest to researchers exploring ways to apply the principles of living systems to human design systems such as swarm robots, in which individuals must also work together to create complex behaviors. Quote, The worm blob collective turns out to have capabilities that are more than what the individuals have. A wonderful example of biological emergence, said Daniel Goldman, a Dunn family professor in Georgia Tech's School of Physics, who studies the physics of living systems. And it goes into a little bit of history. I'm going to show the video here. Let's see, the worm gymnasium, applying worm principle to robots. Okay, Ozkin Aydin also is the researchers applied the principles observed in the worms to small robotic blobs composed of, quote, smart active particles, 6 3D printed robots with 2 arms and 2 sensors, allowing them to sense light. She added a mesh of enclosure and pins to arms that allowed these smarticles, interesting word there, smarticles, to be entangled like the worms, and tested a variety of gaits and movements that could be programmed into them. And interestingly enough, smarticles was a term that was in the book, the Atopia Chronicles, for smart particles, as it says there, smarticles. Kind of like a pill you can take and you can go into these VR worlds and stuff. And anyway, I just thought it was interesting that they would come up with the word smarticles in a laboratory here. Quote, depending on the intensity, the robots try to move away from the light, Ozkin Aydin said. They generate emergent behavior that is similar to what we saw in the worms. So here's the video, and I'll narrate the video. And this is really, for those of you listening, you're really going to have to take a look at what this looks like. So check out the YouTube video if you have a chance. But here's the video. This is not an alien species. It looks like a blob with tentacles moving around. These are California blackworms. And again, they look like just a blob tentacle thing, bonding together to form a worm blob. And let's continue on here. Come on, video. Move it forward. These creatures look more likely to appear in the next season of Stranger Things than in your local pond. And what you're seeing here is kind of like the blob just moving around and
blob of worms. Yes, it's like the Ultron of worms.
Yeah, and it's kind of got its own intelligence.
Voltron, rather.
Yeah. Let's see. A worm gymnasium tests the strength of individual worms, and I think then they test the collective worm there, helping researchers understand how small numbers of creatures can move an entire blob. They have like a time-lapse video of these worm blobs kind of merging together. Just 2 or 3...
acting as sort of one being, sort of like a school of fish or a flock of birds.
Yeah, it's a hive
mind. But in this case, they're all really gross-looking little wormies.
It's creepy. Applying worm blob dynamics to swarm robotics. So now you have these robots.
Worm blob dynamics.
So you have these robots.
Scientific term.
I was hoping the robots would be a little more sleek-looking. You know, because they got the worm blob. It looks all creepy with tentacles and all this. But the robots they have for this experiment just look like tortured, I don't know, cards.
They look like something made out of Legos almost.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. But I don't like the way they're moving. It's kind of creepy. Researchers are investigating how physical interaction might improve energy efficiency. And yeah, again, you got this collective set of robots that are moving along here. The research was supported by the National Science Foundation. So there you go. I just thought it was an interesting story here where, again, in the greater conversation of, is there a God, the theological conversation, humans aren't able to create robots without mimicking what already exists in nature. And
sure.
That's
or
the only way
using nature as the most efficient muse to just steal nature's tactics in order to make robots do what we want them to do.
Right. And so to me, it just points to a creator, but also this futile attempt for us to always be moving forward and trying to control all of it. And I don't know. It looks pretty creepy, man. I would be really creeped out if I saw that worm blob. So,
yeah, no, that it just looks like one a creature. You wouldn't, if you saw this out in the wild, you wouldn't think it was just a bunch of worms. But yeah, when you're talking about in the context of swarm robotics, robotic surveillance, weaponized robots, things like that, it's even got kind of a tinge of black goo.
Yes, very black gooish.
If you got a big blob of nanoparticles all working together, being able to manipulate themselves and the world around them. This is pretty similar to what it would look like, I think.
Yeah, if you let these smarticles take over your body, they would use these worm-like creatures.
Don't let the smarticles into your body. I got a non-robot story here.
Oh, what is it?
Well, we got to keep up with the Satanists, see what they're up to.
666.
That's right. Checking in at patch.com here. The headline states, Delco Satanist Group offering $666 scholarship to outsiders. Ooh. Being an outsider is a bit of a double-edged sword. Outsiders can be maligned by being cast as those unwilling to participate in traditions and norms enjoyed by others, but also lauded for their unwillingness to conform and their ability to critically analyze communities, institutions, and more. And a group of Delaware County Satanists are looking to honor a local high school student who embodies the positive aspects of being an outsider. Satanic Delco has launched its Outsider Achievement Award program. The group is seeking a Ridley High School student who, quote, embraces individualism, empathy, free thought, and skepticism to present them a scholarship in the amount of $666. Quote, high school is a critical, formative part of life for most American teenagers. According to the group, quote, countless factors converge to define how that experience impacts each young individual. For some students, sports, academics, and groupthink come naturally. But in the shadows of the homecoming royalty, football star, and most likely to succeed, lies the outsider. Submissions are due May 1st. Satanic Delco founder, on May
Illuminati Day.
Yes, May Day, the perfect due date for submissions to the Outsider Scholarship. Satanic Delco founder Joseph Rose is a Ridley High School graduate himself. He told Patch his time in high school was less than enjoyable, being the anti-religious kid with a passion for heavy rock, grunge, and metal music. He was in the 90s. Quote, my high school experience there stood out as nightmarish, he said. Quote, so I wanted to find a kid who was in a position anywhere in the ballpark of where I felt and help them. Rose and a fellow member, who is also a Ridley High School graduate, came up with the scholarship idea and began a funding campaign to raise the $666. This is a quote, the outsider doesn't always love the new popular song or wear the trendy fashion style, the group wrote on the funding page. Quote, they're often on the receiving end of the bullying that goes overlooked by faculty. Sometimes they skip class, not because they're looking for trouble, but because they're overwhelmed by a crushing anxiety, or maybe they're still alone, crying in the stairwell. They're not losing the popular contest. It's just never occurred to them to enter it in the first place. Let's see here, and then the article goes on. It's quite long.
Isn't that I don't know, most people's high school experiences are they can relate to this to some degree, can't they? Unless you're like, even the super jock must experience some level of depression.
Yes, that's something you learn only in your adult life. For the most part, everybody in high school was having a bad time. Even the ones you perceived as being popular and things like that didn't necessarily have the experience that you think they had. But with this particular thing, it's interesting because they're trying to give money to an outsider. They have a due date. They have a submission process. And they just said right here, they're not losing the popularity contest. It just never occurred to them to enter it in the first place. So I can imagine that a lot of these, quote, outsiders, it's kind of, I don't know, seems to be against their nature to pursue a contest to be the most outsidey kid to get money.
Yeah, and I can only imagine the kid that wins this. He doesn't care about the Satanist. I mean, he might think it's weird, but all he cares about is the money, probably. Mm-hmm. But I would be weirded out, oh, you're the most outsider kid. Yes, I win. Here's $666.
Well, that's also the interesting part of this is, it's kind of got a weird feel to it, where it's like, okay, all you outsiders, compete to be the most outsidey kid, and we'll give you some money, and we'll let you know about Satanism at the same time. So, well, that sounds like
one of the tenets. It says here, embraces individualism, empathy, free thought, and skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
What if they're skeptical of the whole thing here?
Well, they should Satanist be. Group? I mean, the outsider to win the money should be the outsider that does not submit.
Yeah, exactly.
Gons, I have to break for a second. Cron33 in YouTube says, Gon's looking like he breeds illegal pit bulls.
No, I don't. Although I did rescue a part pit bull dog a few years ago. He was a handful, I gotta say.
Yeah, their energy, they've got a lot of energy. So there you go. Interesting. I mean, it certainly can go down a whole rabbit hole about what the potentials of the satanic Delco coming in and trying to.
What if? What if the jock
students?
Yeah, what if the jock guy applies to this? Are they just going to be like, oh, he's an athlete jock, he's not going to win?
I want to know what the submission form looks like. What are the types of things? Oh, here we go. To be considered, students are asked to detail their experience being the outsider. This can be done in song, prose, verse, or other creative mediums. There are no specific requirements regarding word count, running time, or other guidelines for the submissions. Interesting. So you can write a poem or a song about being an outsider. So it's more of like a song contest than a submission form.
Yeah, there's just some interesting ways these satanic groups are drawing attention here. All right, well, that's good.
You know, something weird's going on here. My stuff here isn't giving me any stats on viewership today. Is that giving you? Are you getting the number on your?
Yes, it's very low count, lower count than normal today. But that's
it is a lower count. I actually went and had to go deep into our settings to find the current viewership. But yeah, that's okay.
All right, this one's.
What else you got?
This one's interesting here.
Artificial intelligence.
This is federalnewsnetwork.com. Treasury pilots AI algorithm to parse congressional spending bills faster. More than a year after the government-wide Chief Data Officers Council held its first meeting, agencies are developing data analytics capabilities that empower decision-making within their top ranks. The Treasury Department's Bureau of the Fiscal Service, for example, is testing out if artificial intelligence can streamline the annual appropriation process and get money to agencies sooner.
We're going into the AI government here.
Yep. When Congress approves spending, the Bureau pulls apart the text of the appropriations bill to figure out which agencies and accounts get money and how much. To expedite this process, the Bureau is testing if an AI algorithm can read the PDFs and turn the text into structured, machine-readable data. Justin Marsico, the Bureau's CDO, said the algorithm uses natural language processing to break down the documents. Quote, "There's not an easy way that you can train a robot to pull out the right numbers. You need to understand syntax and the structure of the sentences and actual in order to pull the text apart," Marsico said last month in a virtual summit hosted by the Advanced Technology Academic Research Center. Once the algorithm pulls data from the spending bill, Marsico said the Bureau's subject matter experts review the data to flag and correct issues. Marsico said the pilot systems for the recognition that some routine office tasks like physically signing documents can come with added friction with employees working during the COVID-19 pandemic. A government-wide demand for transparency and data-driven decision-making, he added, has also accelerated during the pandemic. Hey, anyone? Hey, blockchain, anyone? The Bureau stood up a dashboard early in the pandemic to help executives decide when to reopen office buildings, but Marsico said Commissioner Tim Gribben made the dashboard available to all Bureau employees and has helped the workforce develop trust in reopening decisions. Quote, staff understood how we were making decisions and that we're putting ourselves out there and the criteria that we were using out there, so that we could be accountable to the staff for actually making those decisions, Marsico said. Since Congress passed the Foundations for Evidence-Based Policy Making Act in 2019, Kshemendra Paul, the CDO of the Department of Veterans Affairs, said he's seen a renaissance in agencies using data as a strategic asset. And it goes on here. Well, there's a little bit more, but to strengthen these efforts, the VA is working with the Defense Department's CDO on what Paul described as a joint vision for data analytics. Through these data insights, Paul said the VA is looking to improve its customer experience to veterans as they phase out of active military service. So, yeah, I mean, this is expected. It's almost... I guess we're at the point now where AI is so common that applying it to government is it was an inevitability anyway, but we're here. We've made it. It's at that point now.
Yeah, well, it's going to continue to step into that realm, and those longtime listeners will remember when we reported on, I think it was, well, there was a poll taken in various EU territories about how open people would be to artificially intelligent government. And I'm trying to remember exactly where the highest number was. I think Estonia, is something crazy. Like 80% of people were open to an AI government.
Yeah.
I think the Dutch had a pretty high number too. So yeah, at least in EU, Estonia being a special case, they've sort of tried to transform their whole economy and whole society basically into an automated society. But yeah, there you go. I mean, and this was years ago. This must have been at least a couple years ago. So I think that's given the permission for the establishment to continue to work in automation into the process, which I think is funny. It's got kind of an interesting dichotomy to it because, you have the elites and or the establishment rather, just itching to replace labor and other workers with automation. And in certain places in the EU, they're just the labor side of things and the workers are just itching to replace government with automation. Yeah. So it's kind of this battle to who actually gets replaced. And, eventually somebody would like to have everything replaced with automation.
The other thing that's interesting is that this is kind of I feel like it's a Trojan horse type of situation here. Because if you think about it, a lot of the AI implementation is to increase efficiency and transparency. Like that's how they're framing all of this, right?
Sure.
Exposing the slowness of humans and the error-bound man, that kind of thing. So, to bring it in like this is it's almost nefarious in a way because it's like, yeah, it's going to help us. It's going to help us be more transparent. Everyone can see it. It's going to be open source, blah, blah, blah. But then once AI reaches a certain level or, the public, the trust of the public in AI starts to outweigh, then you're getting into some interesting territory where the AI, you would imagine the AI doesn't make any mistakes, mathematics.
Yeah, well,
doesn't make
the
mistakes.
big concern is, the AI's goal, because an AI unchecked by a human, technician or something, the goal of, well, at least the sort of imaginary utopian goal of a government would be to make life better for all of its people.
Right.
And you can certainly do your best to teach an AI that should be its goal. But the problem is, especially at the top of the pyramid here, a lot of times too much attention is paid to things like efficiency and economics rather than the well-being of the people. And so the fear would be, if you have a robot at the top making calculated robotic decisions based on efficiency and economy, the best way for the state to save money is to destroy all humans.
Yeah, the whole Ultron situation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Thanos.
Oh, Thanos too, but Ultron was the AI robot that became. It was a clone of whatever, the whole Marvel thing. Anyway, moving on here. Here's one for you, Basil.
Artificial intelligence.
'Cause I'm DNA.
Oh, not the whole thing, huh? We cut that one short.
Oh, yeah.
The Next Web. thenextweb.com. The headline here is, "This human genome does not exist. Researchers taught an AI to generate fake DNA." Oh, wonderful. File this one under, quote, "While the rest of the world was busy trying to get virtual assistants to tell dad jokes, researchers in Estonia figured out how to deep fake people at the molecular level." We've seen a delightful onslaught of AI-generated content over the last few years from generative adversarial networks, that's the GANs, attempting to create so-called deep fake imagery. And just a reminder, a GAN, a generative adversarial network, is basically two AIs pitted against each other to compete back and forth into creating the best deep fake or image or thing, and that's how they know to get better. They compete against one another. Moving on, there's this person does not exist, and this cat does not exist. You can even generate feet, resumes, and a waifu. Wow. That list of AI deepfakes that you can play with on the internet, we've played with almost all of them on this show.
Yeah.
We did "This person does not exist," "This cat does not exist," and I made my own anime waifu on the show. It's astounding how realistic some of the imagery created out of thin air by AI can be. But this is the first time we've seen an AI generate the recipe for a viable, unique human being via the creation of synthetic genomes. A team of researchers from Estonia have developed a machine learning system capable of generating unique genome sequences. These computer-generated fakes could play a vital role in the future of DNA research. Per the team's research paper, quote, "Generative neural networks have been effectively used in many different domains in the last decade, including machine-dreamt photorealistic imagery. In our work, we apply a similar concept to genetic data to automatically learn its structure and, for the first time, produce high-quality, realistic genomes." Dubbed artificial genomes, these AI-created sequences are indistinguishable from actual human genomes, with the exception of being completely synthetic. This means researchers don't have to be concerned with ethical privacy concerns. Oh, thank goodness the researchers don't have to be concerned with ethics. Finally, set the scientists free. Under the current research paradigm, researchers have to safeguard DNA in order to ensure the privacy of the humans it belongs to. This involves extra rigor and, in many cases, a drought of available data due to the inability for facilities to share their data sets. Synthetic genomes would go a long way towards solving these problems. Quick take. This is fantastic news for medical researchers and a clear case of GAN tech being used for good. But this work does shine a light on some near and far future ethical conundrums we're going to have to face one day.
Really?
In the near term, yeah, you don't say. In the near term, it's going to get easier for bad actors to create fake personas that can stand up to even the most rigorous inspection. Not that we envision a scenario where a scam artist needs to provide fake transcript of their genome. It's probably not as far away as you'd think there, author. But the unknown unknowns are where security holes tend to grow the fastest. In the far term, if Skynet had this GAN, it wouldn't have had to what? Okay, in the far term, if Skynet had this GAN, it wouldn't have had to make so many machines that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. One day, this technology could reach a point where the philosophical question, am I a robot, will be a very valid one for any given person to ask themselves.
I'm for the robots.
That's right. I mean, this is interesting. It's a fairly short article on a fairly obscure website that might be the most intense news to come out in the field of genetics and deepfakes in some time. I mean, this is the ability for artificial intelligence not to just deepfake an image of a face or the sound of a voice, but the very genome itself. It can create a genetic human, or at least code a genetic human at the very base level. And I mean, if the Church of Artificial Intelligence doesn't grasp onto this and think that they've created God, I don't know what they will.
Well, yep, this is very prophetic. You talk about Revelation 13, the image of the beast, and we've talked about it over and over again. But verses 14 and on, because of the signs it was given, the second beast, to perform on behalf of the first beast, it deceived those who dwell on the earth, telling them to make an image to the beast that had been wounded by the sword yet lived. And this, the second beast was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image can speak and cause all who refuse to worship it to be killed. And this image, again, is this inanimate object that all of a sudden has what appears to be life. We're talking about that and this idea that we've reverse engineered everything to the point where AI can come up with its own genomic sequence, spin that up into living creature, and you have the golem, you have the homunculus. In real life, that has its own genetic structure that mimics human genomes, but it's not an actual human genome. And so, it's been shown in movies as, synthetics and synthetic humans or whatever. But there you go. This is the groundwork. This is the code necessary to make that happen. And this is a really pretty wild breakthrough here.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. They were trying to talk about, it doesn't really, no real use for this right now, except for research purposes. Well, I think a month or two ago, we were talking about the DNA printer that can print out the DNA. We even tried to buy one on the show, too expensive. And now with this synthetic DNA, just look. I'm no criminal mastermind, and this is just coming strictly from a place of imagination. But if you were trying to go commit a crime and you were worried about leaving DNA evidence behind, one great way to avoid, leaving DNA evidence is to smother it in false DNA evidence.
Yeah.
And you get a DNA printer. You get one of these fake DNA printing or encoding AIs. You print out a big vial of synthetic DNA. It doesn't even have to lead to another person. It's just random human DNA. And commit your crime and put it in an aerosol bottle and spray it around before you leave.
That is the most applicable use case of this right now, and that's why I would want to get my hands on a jar of this synthetic genome, just so I can.
That is interesting. Yeah, when the robots take over the world and they track us by finding our DNA as we're hiding in the hills of some Appalachian dead zone, you're gonna want to keep your bottle of spare DNA around to throw the Boston Dynamics manhunters off your trail.
The robot mob is going to be like, all we can find is traces of Fred. Let's go find Fred. Where's Fred? Fred is everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we have no files on all this DNA.
Yeah, and so and talking about the whole, people talk about the vaccine passports and the DNA passports and stuff like that. This would be another great way to apply. We're gonna have to check your DNA, sir, to get on United Airlines. Oh yeah, here you go. But although I'm sure they would have the ability to sniff it out, but maybe not. I don't know.
Who knows? Well, you never know. They might build in some sort of marker or something. But if the thing with AI is all it takes is a careless IT guy, and you can just steal the code and go make it yourself. We have a lot of people asking for the link to this in the chat. Unfortunately, let's see if this works. I'm going to try to post it in the chat so you can read along. But here's the deal. If we post this for you, because remember, all the articles are available in the show notes after the show when it gets posted on canarycrynewstalk.com. But if you're going to share this, give us some credit. This is a great way to lead some people to the show. We've got our Canary Cry Silver giveaway this month. And I did see after last episode, people caught on that they have a good chance of winning 1 troy ounce of silver from our dear producer, Aaron Moffat. And if you want to win that stuff, you just do a social media post, hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, leave a link to some of our material, and let everybody know how cool we are. And this is a pretty intense article that you might want to share. So send people our way. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and the link has, at the bottom of the article, has a link to the actual journal article here with the abstract and everything. So that's, it's not just some fringe blog reporting this. It's actually got some scientific
you can read the whole paper there.
Yeah,
if you'd like.
Yep. Okay.
Okie dokie. What's next?
Well, things just keep getting deeper.
This is deep.
This is globalnewswire.com. Logical clocks, tech for good. Artificial intelligence applications that will improve the environment and healthcare in the EU. Logical Clocks announces 3 new research projects, part of the European Union Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program, that will benefit the HopsWorks artificial intelligence capabilities to scale deep learning and enhance research focused on understanding environmental changes and improving healthcare in Europe. HopsWorks is the world's first and most advanced managed feature store with an end-to-end AI platform for the development and operation of AI applications at scale. And the 3 companies that I want to highlight here, the first one, AI applications to improve healthcare. The Human Exposome Assessment Platform, HEAP, is building a research platform leveraging AI capabilities to reveal the influence of environmental factors on human health, such as the link between airborne particles and predisposition to late-onset diseases such as cancer. And like I said, I think they're going to figure out cancer here in a little bit. But that's one. I'm going to skip the middle one because that's the main one I want to talk about. The next one, the Extreme Earth Project, focuses on the most concerning issues of food security, such as water availability for irrigation of vegetation growth for the former. So this is AI applications to improve food security and navigation safety. But this is the one that I found very interesting. AI applications to predict climate changes. The Deep Cube project tackles, through AI, urgent problems caused by climate change in Europe and the whole Mediterranean region, such as forecasting of localized extreme drought and deadly heat impacts in Africa. The project is part of a consortium formed by 9 organizations from 6 European countries that will combine cutting-edge technologies such as the HopsWorks platform for machine learning, the Earth System Data Cube, and an advanced visualization tool to extract meaningful information from a large volume of data and to develop data-driven AI models. Now, more models. Can we quit the models, please? Funded with 4 million, I think that's euros, by the European Union. The project will develop AI applications by extracting data from the Copernicus Earth Observation Program, which already produces annually more than 3 petabytes of free, open, and high-quality data from satellites and from non-conventional data sources such as social network data, industry-specific data, and sensor data. So you go to this document here. This is the Deep Cube document from the EU, and Deep Cube explainable AI pipelines for big Copernicus data. And you go through the whole thing here. It's just a bunch of diagrams. And then you get to the conclusion here, and it's another one of those moments, Basil, where we tried to tell you a long time ago. I think it was like episode 5 or something on Canary Cry Radio. We talked about this summary. New AI architectures for new EO problems. I think that's environmental observations, I think. Towards digital twin Earth. Hybrid modeling for Earth system sciences, explainable AI, causality, heterogeneous datasets, INSAR. They want to make a digital twin Earth with this thing, with
it's like the
Cube.
world simulation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's their, and of course, 5+1 use cases towards UN Sustainable Development Goals, which if you scroll around, I've pointed this out before, but the climate action, part of the Agenda 2030 system there, the climate action logo is an eye with the globe Earth in the middle of it. So
perfect.
Take that for what you will. But here you go. It's a Deep Cube.
Well, this is an interesting clone. This is an interesting connection to simulation theory as well, which, we don't necessarily subscribe to simulation theory, but this is kind of the basis of Elon Musk's fears, or I don't know if beliefs, or at least theory of that we're all living in a simulation, is because here we are about to create a simulation of Earth.
Yep.
It's just simulations all the way down, baby.
Yeah. So I guess this is really interesting, is that how long do you have to simulate reality with weather in order to be like, oh, we can accurately predict what's coming tomorrow? And it's like the Minority Report thing, but just climate. They're like, it's like the ultimate predictive model. But if they're wrong, then what? Like,
and when it comes to climate, especially when it comes to climate change and trying to do all these computer models, the problem is that climate scientists themselves, and not even fringy, ones who are trying to take down the establishment or whatever, but even the climate scientists that are cited by climate change alarmists they admit that, this is all based on computer models, and our computer models aren't the best. And, I don't know, Al Gore keeps taking our computer models and making a big deal about it. So, computer modeling clouds is almost impossible. And believe it or not, clouds are a big part of weather and the climate.
No, all clouds are fake now.
Yeah, so, they're trying their hardest to keep these computer models a-rolling.
Yeah, and that's
Cube.
But that's the interesting thing, is that with a lot of AI and models, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? Mm-hmm. Your predictive model is only as good as the data you're getting. And so I think with Deep Cube, they're trying to literally digitize every molecule. And this is not something new either. We've talked about this with the simulation theory, or the sentient world simulation. Yeah. That literally every molecule will be mirrored in some kind of digital virtual reality. And then if they can reflect back good enough the exact model and the exact patterns of what's happening in the world, then we can look into the future. It is like this weird future. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the thing the Vatican had that looked into the future or the past? That little time traveling device they had.
Oh, the time visor or
chronovisor. That's right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. That's what they're sort of building. Because, but again, you're only as good as the data that you have. So let's say they get it online and they're perfectly able to mirror a year's worth of Earth's climate to every molecule that's out there. That's, it doesn't mean that whatever it predicts coming up in the next year is going to be accurate, because you have however many years before that's affected. So I don't know, man. This is all just ridiculous. It's all just for control purposes. I don't see this as
but Deep Cube, Gons.
Yeah, Deep Cube.
Deep Cube.
The cube thing too with the Saturn, and I think there's one logo here of one of the affiliate companies here has like a Saturn logo. Let me here you go. Galu. I don't know what the exact name of this I can't read it. Galu. Anyway, or Al. I'm not sure. Anyway, Deep Cube. Deep Cube and Al.
Deep Cube.
So there you go.
Okay. You want to talk about some New World Order stuff?
New World Order.
A new world order can emerge.
Yeah, this is India, man.
India. We're coming from the India Times again. India is they've got some interesting news that they follow. They've got a very robust world news thing. But here we go. The headline is New World Order. Realty, healthcare among sectors that will transform the most, said Edelweiss. Brokerage firm Edelweiss Securities believes that the global and Indian economy are entering a new world order post the COVID-19 pandemic, which is somewhere between a crisis and a revolution. Quote, it is the harbinger of a new economic and world order, an accelerated and pretty sustainable shift for the decade ahead.
Pretty sustainable,
and yet builds on the economic, technology, consumption, and corporate rails that we have been progressively familiar with, the brokerage firm said in a report today. The brokerage firm believes India will be the front runner in the new world order because of its middle income status, higher growth rates, younger demographics, and nascent development. The brokerage believes that in the post-pandemic world order, sectors such as real estate, digital, automation, healthcare, media, and retail, and green energy will see the most transformation. In real estate, the brokerage firm believes that the hybrid work model will entrench itself, as not all employees will be comfortable working from home all the time. In the age of social distancing, Edelweiss Securities argues that office spaces will become wider to allow for safe distancing. Oh, this is interesting. Have you heard this before? While Western countries are, trying to keep people home and office buildings are sort of going out of vogue or becoming useless, India wants to create bigger office buildings, more real estate, bigger office buildings. You need them bigger so you can social distance. Hallways are going to become 20 feet wide.
Well, they gotta build the infrastructure for the Nephilim, the returning Nephilim gods.
I think you cracked it.
10, 12 feet tall. They're not going to be able to walk around in human-sized facilities.
In the digital space, the brokerage firm believes that the government needs to push its investment in the digital payment and social security infrastructure through the National Payments Corporation of India. Oh, man, what a great shout out.
Well, and Aadhaar. Remember Aadhaar? I did a video on this years ago where basically they destroyed the paper money there in India. Overnight, they just completely inflated it. And people were in lines to try to trade that money in, but you had to give your bio print to basically receive the digital cash.
They went cashless.
Yeah. So this is all part of it. And this is why they keep banning Bitcoin. They've done it like 5 times already, but then nobody cares. They just keep using it. So it's kind of funny to watch in India. They're like, we ban Bitcoin. And then they're like, well, we're just going to keep using it anyway.
Yeah.
But,
well, there you go. They tried to make their own digital currency, but people like the Bitcoins better.
Yeah.
Quote, we believe India's digital evolution is likely to be unique. Globally, the digital push has been driven by incremental productivity upticks graduating to digital adoption. In India, the government created foundational blocks to lower the cost of digital adoption, which democratized the benefits of digitalization, Edelweiss Security said. Not exactly sure what she said, Edelweiss, but it sounded good. It sounded digital. In the healthcare sector, the brokerage believes that the pandemic has given a major fillip to e-pharmacies. What does that mean? A major fillip?
I'm imagining, and this is not. I'm just, my landlord is from India.
Here we go, folks.
I'm imagining an Indian person doing voice to text, and he wanted to say flip, but he said Philip.
Oh, is that what it is? Giving a major flip to e-pharmacies and teleconsultation. Quote, we expect e-pharmacies to create an ecosystem of healthcare services for the convenience of patients, doing away with the need to step out of their homes, the report said. Oh, geez. Can we have one reason to step out of our home, please? As for the telemedicine market, Edelweiss said the market size of telemedicine could cross $5.5 billion by 2025 in the country. And in the retail and media sectors, the brokerage sees the maximum disruption. Disruption. I hear you. But I'm just putting my own little spin on it. My own sauce.
But it changes meaning when you do that.
Disruption. Edelweiss said that with more consumers directly consuming content online, advertisers are likely to spend more money on digital advertising, which could put traditional media such as radio and print under threat.
Oh, no.
As if print wasn't under threat already.
India, though, it's different.
Yeah. Okay. I know, Gons, we all understand that India is different, okay? You don't have to remind me every day. Guys, he sends me an email every day saying, remember, India's different. Quote, in retail, the shift in consumer behavior has seen the sector transition from bricks alone to a combination of bricks and clicks. Oh, what a great tagline. Some PR person has really earned their wages on this one. Bricks and clicks, and pushed retailers to move beyond the traditional view that physical locations are primarily for in-store customer engagement, the brokerage firm said. Edelweiss Securities expects India to achieve significant scale in automation going forward, with wide-ranging industries adopting automation depending on how export markets pan out. Yep, yada, yada, yada. So there you go. India's awesome. You know what's interesting, Gons? We like taking news from India outlets once in a while, every couple of shows, maybe at least once a week. And remember, we were talking about the attack on the Modi government, and how the Modi government was kind of caught creating thousands of media outlets, online media outlets, and news organizations. And this was in the context of the India, I believe it's Iran or Pakistan. Oh shoot, which one is it? This is an important one to not get wrong. Who's their biggest? Besides China, who's on the other side?
Yeah, China.
Is it Pakistan or Iran?
Hold on.
Oh my gosh, my virtual reality hands are flying all over the place.
Okay, hold on.
One right next to it. We need a map.
Okay, you just want to pull up a map of India?
Just pull up a map and tell me what the country is immediately to their left.
Let's see. Here's a conflict
See if somebody
map.
in the chat has it. Pakistan. Yeah, I believe it's Pakistan.
Yeah, I think it is Pakistan.
So anyways, in their sort of war of propaganda with Pakistan, they created thousands of fake media outlets to basically tell everybody how awesome India is. And over the past couple months, we'll have these stories once in a while that basically are just like, India's the best, India is the future, New World Order,
yeah,
India
they love
India
the
owns the Illuminati. India's the best. And so I think we might be sort of falling into the Indian propaganda once in a while.
Maybe that's maybe why they continuously use the phrase New World Order, because they've done some analytics and they're like, oh, this is a good word to use.
Well, and it would, and it makes sense because of their, they're so combative with China, who really does stand poised to be sort of a world leader if things go a certain way, I think India is trying to create some buzz, as they would say in Hollywood, create some buzz about how India will be the leader of the world and not China.
Yeah. Well, I just love that the headline starts with New World Order! In the Economic Times of India Times. But one of the big mentions there is healthcare, right? Healthcare. Obviously, we've seen the big health crisis of the last year with the pando, but if there is,
what a cute way.
What'd you think of the pando, Basil?
Man, remember back in the pando,
pre-pando days? Yeah, pre-pando, bro.
Pre-pando. Oh my gosh, I gotta start using that.
If there ever was a reason in the United States to completely overhaul the health industry, there's this story here.
They're blinding us with sap.
This is FoxNews.com. Minnesota clinic shooting suspect identified as Gregory Paul Ulrich, 67, had history with facility, police says. And this is that story of the shooting from yesterday. I was really thinking that this was going to, they were going to really use the white supremacist anti-vaxxer went into a healthcare facility to shoot people up. And
yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be too.
I don't think it worked because there was a little too much history with this guy, allegedly. But let's hear what happened here. Multiple people were injured Tuesday in a shooting at a healthcare clinic about 40 miles northwest of Minneapolis, authorities said. The Buffalo Police Department confirmed to Fox News that the shooting happened at an Alina health clinic in the city. There were at least 5 victims, authorities said, but police did not immediately confirm their conditions and the extent of their injuries. 4 victims were treated at North Memorial Health, where at least 1 has since been discharged. The hospital said in a statement early Tuesday evening. 3 remained in critical but stable condition. A spokesperson for nearby Hennepin Healthcare told Minneapolis-based Fox 9 that the 5th victim taken to the Hennepin County Medical Center has died from their injuries. Minneapolis-based Care 11 reported that a victim was a nurse. Wright County Sheriff Sean Derringer identified the suspect as 67-year-old Gregory Paul Ulrich, a Buffalo resident who had been known to investigators since 2003 after a number of unspecified calls. Quote, "It was a terrible scene," Derringer said. Deputies from his office had joined Buffalo police in initial response to shots fired. Investigators found a suspicious package at the scene and several more at a nearby Super 8 motel where Ulrich was staying, Derringer said. The Minneapolis Police Department sent members of its bomb squad to help the investigation. Buffalo Police Chief Pat Budke said officers found multiple victims at the scene, rendered aid, and took Ulrich into custody. The victims were taken to multiple locations for treatment. Quote, "There's no information at this point that leads us to believe that there was any nexus with any type of domestic terrorism," Budke said, visibly struggling to keep his composure and pausing multiple times to find words. Quote, "We are very familiar with the suspect," he said during the Tuesday afternoon news conference, adding investigators believed that the attack was targeted due in part to a history of conflict Ulrich had with the facility. He added that Ulrich may have had taken issue with care he either sought or received at the clinic, but authorities were not aware of him making threats before the shooting. Quote, "The history that we have as a department with this individual makes it most likely that this incident was targeted at that facility or at someone within that facility," Budke said. In 2018, a judge had ordered Ulrich to stay away from a man who had the same name as a doctor who worked at the clinic. It was not immediately clear whether that doctor was among the victims. Despite the order of protection, Ulrich allegedly tried to obtain a handgun permit in 2019. There you go. There's an anti-gun conversations there. But again, this didn't get really picked up nationwide the way I thought it would. A court agent said in court filings that he, quote, highly recommended that not be allowed. Ulrich had a history of drunken driving and marijuana convictions dating back to 2004. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, speaking at a news conference Tuesday afternoon, thanked local police and sheriff deputies for their response. Quote, at this time, it appears it was a single individual, he said, noting that federal agents from the FBI and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives may get involved due to reports of improvised explosive devices being involved. A nearby middle school was locked down for safety precaution, and authorities had not yet determined a motive. Walz said if city officials were expected to give another update soon. And it goes on a little bit more here, but yeah, that's the basic story. And again, I thought there would be a little bit more. Again, I think there was too much history with this guy to really pin him down on a national level as anti-vaxxer. But it may come out. It may be that in a few weeks or whatever, once they, he's already in jail, or at least he's arrested. He is white, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So who knows? That could be spun in a few days as like, oh, he had an anti-vax agenda, the history with the doctor, because, in this story, they don't know what that thing was where he got basically like a restraining order against a doctor that worked there, or at least had the same name. Yeah, I mean, there was, again, not much else that's come out of this story, but yeah, I thought it was going to be a bigger thing. But it's always suspicious when Twitter doesn't trend stuff like this for their political purposes, or maybe it's just not the right time because, they got Biden in office and everything else, so they don't want to stir the pot too much yet with civil unrest maybe. But
what outlet did you find this on?
This is Fox News.
Oh, okay, so it made it to Fox News. Just, what?
Okay.
Oh, is there a baby?
Baby crying again. It's about time.
Uh-oh. Baby just had to make an appearance on the show. He's got a taste for the camera now.
I know. Yeah, the older daughter just really upset that she has to watch the baby for a few minutes. There's a switching of hands there.
Oh. Older daughter.
Let me text her real quick here.
Okay. While you do that, I can hit this next one here.
Yes. Hold on. Let me make sure we know where we're going. Oh, this is part of. So one of the things that was interesting about this Gregory Paul Ulrich thing is that he had these explosives, kind of. It says amateur, just self-made explosives, but
right.
The story kind of connects. Not exactly, but it's our transition here.
It will kill.
So this is from 10news.com, and this connects to something else, Gons, that we touched on last month, maybe. Headline is high-powered explosives missing, possibly stolen from Southern California military base. Military officials are working to recover high-powered explosives that vanished from a Southern California installation, according to ABC 10 News sources with close military ties. The explosives disappeared from the 29 Palms Marine Corps base, and now a reward is being offered for their discovery, sources told ABC 10 News. Sources report that approximately 10 pounds of composition C4 disappeared during a long training exercise 2 weeks ago. They also believe the manufactured plastic explosives may have been stolen. The unit's commanding officer is considering extending the training exercise until the explosives are found, sources said. They also confirmed the commanding officer messaged subordinate commands about a monetary reward for any information leading to the discovery of the C4. The base would not confirm any details with ABC 10 News. Captain Zachary Colvin with the Marine Air Ground Task Force Training Command told this station that, quote, the ongoing investigation into this incident is being handled by NCIS. Whoa! And the affected units. NCIS, tonight at 6. After Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? A spokesperson for NCIS Public Affairs wrote to ABC 10 News, quote, out of respect for the investigative process, NCIS does not comment on or confirm details relating to an ongoing investigation. Retired Captain Kelly Mayer told ABC 10 News that 1 pound alone could blow up a vehicle when detonated. Mayer, a former firefighter and bomb technician with 23 years of experience, added that C4 is one of the most powerful explosives to be manufactured. Now, Gons, are you present? No. Okay, well, listeners to the show will remember a little while ago we reported on the Humvee that was stolen. I believe this was just a few days before the January 6th event at the Capitol building. There was a full-on military Humvee that went missing and was presumed stolen from a Southern California military base. I would have to go back and peek around to see if it was from the same military base, which maybe just a quick little search. Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. So it's very interesting to see that more military-grade equipment is just walking off these bases. Let's do a quick. So the C4 was stolen from 29 Palms. Oh, interesting. A Humvee recovered. Let's do this. Humvee stolen. Now, for those who don't know, I am in VR here, so I have to type, basically finger typing, so I'm very slow. Oh, there he is. Podcasting's favorite baby. Oh, gosh. Oh, he's on full alert. No wonder the elder daughter was concerned. Okay, here we go. Military base. Gons, are you present, or are you just blessing us with the sound of your beautiful baby? Okay, here we go. This is from the MSN. Newsweek, mirrored from Newsweek. Armored military Humvee stolen in California. FBI search underway. The Humvee was stolen from a National Guard facility in a suburb of Los Angeles, which I do not believe is the 29 Palms. So, yes, a different base. Oh my gosh.
Come on, buddy.
Gons.
You're fine.
You can I mean, we all love hearing crying baby, so it's
I'm
it's
sorry.
all good. No, it's okay.
The only way.
So I was just reminding everybody about the Humvee that was stolen. I don't think that these were stolen from the same base, but it is interesting that basically within a month of each other, a armored Humvee and C4 have been stolen from California military bases. This is starting to set up to be a concerning.
Oh, why are you so unhappy?
Well, do you want to? I mean, I don't want to sound like I don't appreciate your baby, Gons, but if that mute button or the cough button is working,
I don't have one. I don't technically have one.
You don't have a mute?
I don't have a mute. Well, I can mute with you, but I can't mute with the audience.
Oh, the audience. So the live audience can listen to the baby, but I would.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna step aside here if you want to.
No, it's no big deal. We can keep moving. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Here, put the earphones on him. Let me sing him to bed. Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Anybody? Sound of music? Okay. Let's see. I'm seeing somebody in the chat saying the Humvee is already in Oh, okay. A theory that the Humvee was taken to Mexico. Well, it is always concerning when military stuff is walking off the base. Of course, it keeps happening in California. And so keeping an eye out for I don't know. It seems, hopefully not. I hope not. But it seems like there might be some sort of something setting up to happen, or hopefully these military items don't show up in sort of an untoward event. That would be unfortunate. Oopsies. Wow, I am way on the wrong thing. So I think I'm going to bring in this next story just to talk a little bit of politics. We'll wait till Gons gets back before we play the jingle here, but politics. That's right. Many bloodsuckers. First of all, we're going to check back in with the new age, Trump's new age here, and we're going to bring a story from Reuters.com. The headline being "Senators vote to proceed with Trump's impeachment trial, but conviction may prove elusive," which does not sound surprising. But let's see what they have to say here. A divided U.S. Senate voted largely along party lines on Tuesday to move ahead with Donald Trump's impeachment trial on a charge of inciting the deadly assault on the Capitol. But conviction appears unlikely, barring a major shift among Republicans. The Senate voted 56-44 to proceed to the first ever trial of a former president, rejecting his defense lawyer's argument that Trump was beyond the reach of the Senate after having left the White House on January 20th. Democrats hope to disqualify Trump from ever again holding public office. But today's outcome suggests they face long odds. Only 6 Republican senators joined Democrats to vote in favor of allowing the trial to take place, far short of the 17 needed to secure a conviction. Convicting Trump would require a 2/3 majority in the 50-50 Senate. The vote capped a dramatic day in the Senate chamber. Democratic lawmakers serving as prosecutors opened the trial with a graphic video interspersing images of the January 6th Capitol violence with clips of Trump's incendiary speech to a crowd of supporters moments earlier, urging them to fight like hell to overturn his November 3rd election defeat. Senators serving as jurors watched as screens showed Trump's followers throwing down barriers and hitting police officers at the Capitol. The video included the moment when police guarding the House of Representatives chamber fatally shot protester Ashley Babbitt, one of the 5 people, including a police officer, who died in the rampage. Again, there was not 5 people who died in the rampage, but we've gone over that many times. The mob attacked police, sent lawmakers scrambling for safety, and interrupted the formal congressional certification of President Joe Biden's victory after Trump had spent 2 months challenging the election results based on false claims of widespread voting fraud. Quote, "If that's not an impeachment offense, then there is no such thing," Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin, who led a team of 9 House members prosecuting the case, told the assembled senators after showing the video. He wept as he recounted how relatives he brought to the Capitol that day to witness the election certification had to shelter in an office near the House floor, saying, quote, "They thought they were going to die." This is a weird, interesting little detail that Jamie Raskin brought relatives apparently into the House to watch the certification. Is that something we can watch? I wouldn't mind showing up and watching one of those. So, yeah, weird little detail there. But of course, if you're trying to make a case against someone, you need to show personal danger, personal damage that person has done to you. In contrast to the Democrats' emotional presentation, Trump's lawyers attacked the process, arguing that the proceeding was an unconstitutional partisan effort to close off Trump's political future, even if he had already departed the White House. Quote, "What they really want to accomplish here in the name of the Constitution is to bar Donald Trump from ever running for political office again. But this is an affront to the Constitution no matter who they target today," David Schoen, one of Trump's lawyers, told senators. He denounced the insatiable lust for impeachment. Wow, very poetic there among Democrats after airing his own video, which which stitched together clips of various Democratic lawmakers calling for Trump's impeachment going back to 2017. Now, here's an interesting little piece, use of language here, which stitched together. His video stitched together clips of various Democrat lawmakers calling for Trump's impeachment going back to 2017. That kind of gives the vibe, using the word stitched together makes it sound like it was, edited to sound like something that he did, they didn't say, or it was maybe shoddily put together, or there was maybe doctored clips using that language stitched. It's got a very Frankensteinian feel to it. Whereas referring to the video that the Democrats played, it was sounded like it was a very well put together, progressively of progressive quality that showed the truth about what happened there. Let me see if I can find exactly. Senator Trump says the video included the moment when police guarding, included real moments. And so there you go. Just a piece of bias making its way into the writing here, which should not be too surprising. House managers case compelling, cogent. Trump, who was impeached by the Democratic-led House on January 13th, is only the third president in history to be impeached and the only one to be impeached twice. His defense argued he was exercising his right to free speech under the Constitution's First Amendment when he addressed supporters before the Capitol attack. Bruce Castor, one of Trump's lawyers, said the storming of the Capitol by hundreds of people, quote, should be denounced in the most vigorous terms, but argued that small group of criminals, not Trump, were responsible for the violence. Most legal experts have said it is constitutional to have an impeachment trial after an official has left office. Okay, most legal experts, they say. I would like to see a list of most legal experts, but if you say so, Reuters. Quote, presidents can't inflame insurrection in their final weeks and then walk away like nothing happened. And yet, that is the rule that President Trump asks you to adopt, Democratic Representative Joe Neguse told the senators. Most of the senators at the trial were present in the Capitol on January 6th when many lawmakers said they feared for their own safety. Several Republican senators said they found Trump's defense, particularly Castor's argument, disjointed and unclear. Quote, the House managers made a compelling, cogent case, and the president's team did not, said Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, who voted to advance the trial. Cassidy had voted to block the trial on constitutional grounds last month, a Republican effort that failed 55-45. He was the only Republican to switch sides on Tuesday, a move that prompted the Republican Party in his home state, Louisiana, to issue a statement repudiating his decision. Watching the proceedings on TV at his Florida resort, Trump, virtual reality hands going nuts. Watching the proceedings on TV at his Florida resort, Trump was unhappy with Castor's performance, said a person familiar with the situation. Okay, so apparently we've still got moles in Mar-a-Lago reporting on Trump's attitudes towards Cassidy in particular. After the Senate adjourned for the day, Castor told reporters, quote, I thought we had a good day, and said he did not anticipate making any adjustments to his planned defense in response to the criticism. The trial could provide clues on the Republican Party's direction following Trump's tumultuous 4 year presidency. Again, interesting, pointing out, she's got to take the dig. It was a 4-year presidency, not an 8. Sharp divisions have emerged between Trump loyalists and those hoping to move the party in a new direction. Democrats, for their part, are concerned the trial could impede Biden's ability to swiftly advance an ambitious legislative agenda. But few Republican senators are willing to break with Trump. Interesting. They mentioned Biden, because Biden initially was coming out and saying, "Oh, I don't know if we want to do a whole impeachment trial in the Senate because I have things I want to get done," but it kind of had this sort of tacit. Had an implication that, he's been doing a lot of positioning as a man who doesn't want revenge on Trump. He just wants to get to work. He's mentioned this almost word for word in a few different speeches, but it doesn't seem like he's standing strong enough on that idea because the Democratic Party doesn't seem to care what Biden wants in this case, if they ever did in the first place. Continuing on, Senator Josh Hawley, who helped lead the opposition in the Senate to the presidential election results, predicted that Tuesday's vote would ultimately reflect the chamber's final decision. Quote, "That's probably going to be the outcome right there," Hawley told reporters. 1 year ago, the then Republican-controlled Senate acquitted Trump of charges of obstructing Congress and abuse of power for pressuring Ukraine to launch an investigation into Biden and his son Hunter in 2019. So there you go. The Senate impeachment trial is underway. So far, nothing too egregious seems to be the case. Hawley, who was initially kind of a hated figure by many in the Senate. Now, considering many of them are Democrats, but even some of those Republicans they're mentioning that want to see a new direction. People were calling for the resignation of Hawley after he played some sort of part in the election certification. He was one of the ones who was bringing the contest against states like Arizona and things like that. So he seems to think that is not going to go too far. Gons, are you here? Oh, he's here. Hello. You have a sleeping baby?
I do, yes.
Okay.
He just gets tired. I think timing is...
Yeah, it's nap time. It's almost my nap time.
Yeah, I need to teach the elder daughter how to put a baby to sleep. She's not well versed in that world yet.
About time.
Yeah.
I
listened. That was a hiccup. I listened to part of your reading of the Reuters story, so I don't have much to add to it other than just seems like a big poop show over there.
Yeah, there really isn't that much to add to it, except for the fact that it's, kind of a big deal historically. But I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air. I don't know if anybody could call this one. It is a gnarly split right now in the Senate. It's 50-50, which is a pretty, if you're going to think about a well-running democracy that has equal representation, at least there's that. They're split right down the middle. However, as we've seen, a few Republican senators are explicitly coming out against Trump in this case.
I saw this story trending and everything yesterday, and I can only think that this is it's another way to try to boost ratings to talk about stuff. Now that he's out of office, they got a taste of a few weeks without Trump in office, and it just felt like, oh yeah, we got to get him back into the headlines for a little bit. We're losing people.
They cannot stay away, can they?
No, I really
it's because when Trump's not in office, the news ratings just plummet. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I really truly believe that's part of the whole situation of why it's being made such a big deal. But of course, they got their old their own agendas as well. With but to me, I didn't hear the whole reading, but if I'm not mistaken, the whole idea of impeachment is to impeach somebody in office, correct?
And in the past, yes.
In the past. Are they reinterpreting the Constitution?
Historically, that has been the idea.
And are they saying that this is, are they affirming the idea that it's basically to prevent him from running again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
they explicitly mention that.
All right, so that's what they're afraid of. They don't need another Trump, but
I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea because, of course, that has been thrown around ever since it was clear that they were not going to call the race for Trump after the election. Almost immediately, people were so excited for 2024 when Trump would be back, of course, predicting a time of tribulation between now and then, which, if you want to get into the timing of the tribulation, of course, there's a few different theologies surrounding this, but one of them being, there'd be 3.5 years of lots of trouble, which would, coincide pretty closely with the entirety of a Biden administration. Yeah. But we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Yep.
Do we want to get this last one in and then thank some people?
Yeah, so this is we had that story the last episode about the Russians providing ice cream as a way to get people get vaccinated.
Yeah, get vaccinated and you can get some ice cream.
Yeah, the sun.co.uk, they I guess they piggybacked on some people in social media to discover this clip here. I'm just going to go ahead and play it. I don't care about the copyright. Obviously, this is why we have producers. Because we will probably get flagged on this on YouTube, but so be it. Check out this clip from a Simpsons episode. Let me try to figure out what year. 2000 was when this episode aired. The title of the article is "Do Way." The Simpsons predicted Russia's COVID vaccine ice cream offer in 2000 episode. So here it is. The monkey with...
Oh, they drugged the tea. They knew my one weakness.
Hello, number 5. How's every little thing?
Who are you and why are you holding me here? I want answers now or I want them eventually.
Fair enough. I'll level with you. Ow. Please, don't do that.
Sorry.
I'll be blunt. Your webpage has stumbled upon our secret plan.
That's impossible. All my stories are bullplop. Bullplop!
Don't be cute. I'm referring to the flu shot expose. You see, we're the ones loading them with mind-controlling additives.
But why?
To drive people into a frenzy of shopping. That's why flu shots are given just before Christmas.
Of course. It's so simple. Wait, no, it's not. It's needlessly complicated.
Yes, it is. And we can't have you out there mucking it up now, can we?
No, sir.
There's good boy. Let's get you some ice cream. There we are.
Look, you can drug me all you want, but my family won't rest till they find my drug-bloated corpse.
I wouldn't count on that, number 5. As far as your family knows, Homer Simpson is walking in the front door right about now.
I'm sorry, what?
So a big bowl of ice cream with pills and syringes rises up, and it cuts away from him for a second and then cuts back to Homer, and he is chomping away at the vaccine ice cream.
Yep.
So the article goes into a vaccination center in Moscow shopping mall was recently seen handing out free ice cream in a bid to encourage locals to get the jab, the New York Post reported. Polls just showed 38% of Russians feel confident about getting inoculated, forcing health officials to offer the sweet treat as an incentive. But Simpson fans were quick to draw comparisons with season 12 episode The Computer War Menace Shoes. During the episode, Homer Simpson becomes a famous gossip blogger and later uncovers a conspiracy where flu jabs are used as a mind control tool on the population. Very suspicious. One scene shows Homer tucking into a strawberry sundae filled with syringes, sending him into a drug-fueled haze. And one fan of the legendary animation couldn't resist making the comparison to Moscow's ice cream offer. Alongside a headline about the ice cream incentive and a grab of Homer tucking into the sundae, they wrote, "Simpsons predicted the future again." It left Twitter users puzzled, with one asking, quote, "How do they keep doing this? Is this a coincidence, or do the writers have time machines?" W2EF is going on. And of course, then they go into many of the previous and some recent Simpsons predictions.
Yeah, the Kamala one is pretty interesting with when Lisa Simpson becomes president, an episode that aired in 1993. I remember seeing this as a young, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. And I mean, it's pretty uncanny. The purple suit, the pearl necklace, and the pearl earrings.
Yeah, very,
it's pretty
very
wild.
similar.
It is very wild.
Yeah, the
Almost as
outfit, you're referring to Kamala's purple outfit on Inauguration Day.
Yes. And there's a side-by-side with that and Lisa Simpson accepting her presidency. Very interesting. It's almost like it was all planned, Basil. I don't know.
Almost as if.
Almost as if.
Okay, well, should we take a break and thank some people?
Let's do it.
It's break time.
Come on, take a break, folks. Okay, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got some 33 updates as well as some Whack-Ching pandemic special mask updates, and of course, no show would be complete without a Space Pope Reptilian story. So all sorts of important stuff to catch after the break, so don't go anywhere. And there we go. It's time to thank some producers, but before that, I want to let people know about the value for value model. You might notice we don't read any advertisements on the show. We don't have any affiliate codes. We don't take, in fact, we don't take any corporate money at all. Not from YouTube monetizing, not from nothing. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the main ones is that we've had many actually. I think officially we've hit the many category of offers to do advertising on the show. But the fact of the matter is that advertising is indeed a form of mind control. That's from the horse's mouth themselves, talking about how advertising. What was that guy's name? He was the guru, the advertising guru from the 50s, blatantly saying that advertising is mind control. It's also a world-building, narrative-building exercise for those in places who want to build your worldview, as well as convincing you that you are more valuable, not as a human being with a soul and wants and needs and, love in your heart, but that you are most valuable as an economic unit of the establishment. And so that's just something we couldn't quite participate in. So with the value for value model, it's just what it sounds like. We create value. We do it a few times a week, and we do the very best we can. And then if you enjoy it, if you get any value out of what we do, you are invited to put some value back in, and that is the only way that this show keeps going. And we'll keep doing the show as long as the big circle of value continues. And those who participate in the value for value model here on Canary Cry News Talk are producers. And that's not just a cutesy name. Just like in professional entertainment industries, if you pay for a piece of media to be produced, you are a producer of the show. So actually, we recently, and this is for real. You can put this on your LinkedIn, put it on your bios. We actually recently saw somebody who had their producer of Canary Cry News Talk on their bio, which was very cool to do. And if you're a producer out there, you should consider it as well. So it's an invitation to break free from this harmful cycle of mind control and economizing the human spirit. And it's also an investment. It's both a rebellion and an investment. It's an investment into your own media future and a rebellion against the global theology of advertising. And we've been very lucky to have some very generous and participatory producers. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we had 0 PayPal producers today, which was the first time that had ever happened. But since then, some producers stepped up and joined in to produce this show. So we are very grateful for that. And so, Gons, are you ready to thank some people?
Yep, and just briefly before you do, it was Watchmen Studios who had put producer of Canary Cry Radio in her
there you go.
bio on Twitter.
Watchman Studios, producer of Canary Cry Radio.
Well, she put producer at Canary Cry Radio, so it's
there. You go. Perfecto.
Twitter. Yeah.
And you too can do that out there. Okay, so the first way to become a producer of the show is by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. And we do have a couple of Patreon producers coming in today. And first of all, I want to thank new producer, Tinkerman.
Tinkerman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, producer Tinkerman. Next, we have producer Andrew.
Producer Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you very much, producer Andrew.
Andrew
and
Cuomo?
Lastly, what?
I said Andrew Cuomo?
Yes. Andrew Cuomo, producer of Canary Cry News Talk. And lastly, on the Patreon, I want to thank producer M. Nelson.
Thank you, producer M. Nelson.
Thank you very much. Now, we also have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. Canary Cry Radio is our flagship show that we started long ago. It's more of a interview style show, but you can check it out on your favorite podcast player there. But patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio is another great way to support the show. And first of all, I want to thank producer Lance.
Thank you, producer Lance.
Thank you very much, producer Lance. We also have producer William M.
Ooh, William M. Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to check. Let me log into that thing real quick, make sure nobody new came in during the show, because I think maybe somebody has. Oh, no, William M. was the last one. So there you go. Thank you to all of our Patreon producers. We appreciate it very much, and the monthly nature of Patreon really goes a long way to help set a firm foundation for the show to continue every month. Now, there's other ways to produce the show that are not Patreon. That's okay. Some people don't like Patreon. You can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support is a great way to support the show. We've got PayPal options. You can come in with a monthly producership, but if what is it? Commitment. If commitment is not your thing, you can come in with a one-time producership in any amount. Gons, who do we have coming in on the PayPal?
All right. So thank you to all the PayPal people, because they all came in during the show. So
yes, this was a rallying cry.
Yes.
That was answered by the producers. Thank you so much.
Yes. First up, we have producer Benjamin S. coming in.
Thank you very much, Benjamin S.
And he said, "Sorry, it's been a while. Life happens, but I'm back." So you're back.
He's back.
Producer
He's
Benjamin
back, baby.
S. So thank you for that. Next up, we have... baby's waking up.
Uh-oh.
No, go back to
Want
sleep.
me to take it? Here, I'll take it. So
No, it's okay. I got it. I can double duty.
You're gonna wake him up with your loud thankings.
Yeah, I know. We have producer. I'm gonna go with producer Ciara F.
Thank you very much, producer Ciara F.
The producer Ciara, sending love to Keizo. Thank you. Also, will Basil wear a swole shirt now that he's buff?
I know. I need to get mine. Mine has not arrived from the Shimura household yet.
Oh, really? It's supposed to come to me?
It came to you. Yeah, it was supposed to come to you.
Oh, so is this the one?
You've got a whole pile of things for me over there.
I know. Is this one I'm wearing? Is this for you then?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Somebody said they sent me one.
Okay.
So you might be wearing my shirt. That's okay. It looks good on you.
Yeah, I'm ripping through it, so it's not even.
You're just so buff. I don't know how it's gonna fit on me.
Okay, so
let me take this one real quick because I know it sounds like you are reading from the email.
I'm reading straight from PayPal. Thank you.
I know.
Much.
Well, that's why I need to jump in because there's, sometimes people, their PayPal names are not the ones that they want read.
I see the list too. I was doing both.
I want to thank the McBroom family. for coming in, and they leave us a little note here. Romans 12:21. Keep it up, guys. Also, you need a shirt that with Basil on it that says "Googly eyes," more like "Googly wise." Oh, that's very good. Googly wise. Yeah, we had more people asking about googly eyes in the chat today. That should now forevermore be the only answer we give people. No more explaining the googly eyes. We just say more like googly wise, and then they'll get mad and leave. All right. There you go. Thank you very much to the McBroom family.
Yes. Next up, we have producer Rachel C.
Thank you very much, producer Rachel C.
And she says, all I have, but you're welcome to it. Thanks for being there. Much love from Yorkshire. So, thank you so much. It's really generous. Very generous. Thank you for that support there, producer Rachel C.
Yeah.
Next up, we have producer Zephyr Books and Coffee.
Zephyr Books and Coffee is back. Thank you very much for producing the show, Zephyr Books and Coffee.
And they say, you're not zeros, you're heroes. Smiley face.
The official Books and Coffee of Canary Cry News Talk.
You okay?
Is that a baby sneeze?
That's a baby sneeze.
Wow, cute.
And I think this is the last one here from at Sylvan Handwovens.
Yes. Thank you very much, producer Sylvan Handwovens. And actually, one came in during our reading of the producers here. So lastly, I want to thank producer David M.
For
producing the show. Thank you very much, producer David M. Oh, man, you guys are great. Oh, my gosh. Okay, hold on. One more came in.
Ooh.
Yes, producer Cynthia F. Thank you very much, producer Cynthia.
Hey,
and she came in with the 33 producership. Our Illuminati handler has shown up.
All right.
That's right. Okay. There we go. Thank you so much, producers, for answering the call. Not going to lie. It was a little bit worrying today when nothing had come in, but you answered the call, and that means the show can continue. So everybody out there in the chat, or if you're driving your car, whatever you're doing, go ahead and say thank you to a producer. Thank your producers today, folks, because they're the ones that keep the show going.
Yeah. And other people to thank here, we wanted to mention producer Michael C. Thank you, producer Michael C., for gifting us with 421,000 Satoshis.
Oh,
Basil, that is some.
Oh, Satoshis. I mean, that's still fun. Thank you very
thought
much.
You thought it was 421,000 Bitcoin?
Well, you never know what's going to come. 421,000 Bitcoin.
Oh, we would be, I think we might, other than Satoshi himself, we would be one of the biggest bag holders if we had 421,000.
The thing, yes, if we had 421,000 Bitcoin, we would never have to work again. We would
still podcast.
And that's what I was going to say, is we would never have to work again, but we would still do the show. We might actually do more shows.
Oh, we would do more shows, yeah.
Yeah, if we were, so that's the beautiful thing about what we have going on here, Gons, is it's not something that we're actively trying to retire from. And, we joke about an exit strategy now and then, but yes, if 421,000 Bitcoin came in, we would still do the show. But
I would be very suspicious if nearly 500,000 Bitcoin came to us. I would say,
definitely, yes, I would not answer the door if men in suits started knocking on the door. But who is that?
Michael C. He's got a note,
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, producer Michael C. And he's got a note here that says, "Hey, Basil and Gons, wanted to send you my tithe again. Nearly half of my income was from Dogecoin." Yes, okay. So we've got a Dogecoin millionaire on our hands. I bought over 2 years ago and cashed out when I ditched Robinhood. Oh, 2 good moves. Wow. I got to commend you on your decision making. Both got out of Robinhood and bought Dogecoin 2 years ago. Also wanted to mention I'm in the same town as Erin Moffat. Oh, cool. Hoping to meet her sometime. Keeping you in my prayers, brothers. Blessings and shalom, Michael. Thank you very much, producer Michael. We always love the crypto producerships. And we should... we got your email, Erin Moffat, producer Aaron, if you are listening, let us know. We can put you in contact with Michael here. And that goes for everybody out there. You know, there's more Canarians in your town than you think. And a good way to get connected with them is to heading over to canarycry.community and just start a thread there. Let everybody know where you're from. And I guarantee you that Canarians will contact you. And it's a good way to make Canarian friends in your town.
Can you imagine if we had 500,000 Bitcoin? We can do giveaways. We could do, you get a Bitcoin, you get a Bitcoin. That would be fun.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful that we're able to give away an ounce of silver this month. That's very cool. And we actually had somebody else contact us about making another ounce of silver available.
Actually, a couple people. So
that's awesome.
We could create a silver stash.
We got to stay connected because that is. You know what I like about that? It's not just that we get to, give away silver and stuff like that. It's that we have producers and Canarians who want to spread the love. We've got a lot of silver bugs who listen to the show. And you and I are also our own version of silver bug. And, it's a great way to empower and help store wealth for fellow Canarians. It's a wonderful generative system we've got here.
Yep.
But anyways, let's keep moving.
Keep moving. So other ways you can support the show is with your time and talent. And we missed this one last time, but I wanted to make up for it here. Producer Duck Lou sent us the Canary Cry community jingle. He says that this is me over the rainbow and Dula Jaden screaming into our phones with a bunch of created common samples. So here is the Canary Cry community jingle.
Yeah, that kind of sounds what it's like over there.
Yeah. With the cat.
And I believe it was producer Over the Rainbow who gave us the shout out at the No Agenda meetup a month ago or so.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Thank you very much, producer Over the Rainbow. And thank you for that jingle.
Yes,
so speaking of which, it might be a good time to again mention canarycry.community. This is the time to exodus out of social media, especially Facebook. And if you're looking for a place to meet and converse with people just like yourself, canarycry.community, yes, is a real URL. It's our off Facebook social media, and you can connect with other Canarians like you. It's not just a place to go talk crazy talk about conspiracy theories and Nephilim, although it is a great place to do that. But it's also a great place just to connect with other Canarians. There's lots of fellowship that happens there, recipes. There's the Canary Cry Gamers Guild. There's murder mystery threads where, I haven't checked in on the murder. I don't know if there's a murder mystery going on right now, but the last one was, you had to figure out who killed Basil. So it's a good time. It's a good place. And thank you to producer Smiley for running that over there. We couldn't do it without you, and all the other moderators and admins who do that. So head over to canarycry.community.
Oh, jingle. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh. Awesome.
Those are actual community members screaming into our phones with a bunch of Creative Commons samples. Oh, that's fun. Yes. Thank you very much, Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. Timestamps, Jade Bouncerson, we continue to thank you for that as well. We really need to get on top of some of the podcasting 2.0 stuff, because a lot of the new apps are... they have chapter settings, and so that would really help
built-in timestamps, basically.
Well, the community has to do it.
Yeah.
We don't do it. The community would have to do it. But that's something that we'll start putting, or at least promoting, once we know which app and that kind of thing. Or maybe build our own app if we're.
I was going to say that's also on the list, where we need to update our website. We got to update a couple other things, and we got to build our own app. So
yes,
we might be able to combine the community and the podcast player and the chapters and canarycryradio.com/support, producership. Ooh, like an on-running. Oh, the round table. The Canary Cry round table of Knights and Dames can be like its own little section in the app. I don't know. There's lots of fun stuff. Get at us, developers.
Yeah, we're trying to get smarter people than us to build some of that, or help us build some of it. But as usual, we have some people to thank for some art.
One art, please.
And today, the first one goes to producer Allie with
yes.
Don't accept ice cream from the government, even if it has sprinkles.
Yes. This is a great, very well done producer, Allie, one of our youngest producers here and most prolific artist. Great shading on this. From the left, we've got a little flippy arm reaching out and handing an ice cream cone with sprinkles. And from the right, we've got a human hand reaching out for it, and laying on the table between them is a vaccine needle. There you go. Yes.
Yeah, very good. It's very ominous.
Beautiful. It is ominous. It's poetic, and it's good looking. Thank you very much, producer Allie.
Thank you for that, producer Allie. Keep it up. Next up, we have producer Grace coming in with a few quotes and whatnot. This first one here, let me try to get it into frame for those of you watching on screen. This is Basil. I don't want you to die by fall off a cliff or any other reason, but this was too funny not to make.
Yeah.
So this is Basil falling off a cliff. You fell
referring
off
to
a
your
cliff.
dream.
My
about
dream.
Me.
Yes,
where I died by falling off a cliff, and you had to deal with the aftermath.
Yeah. Very sad, somber dream. Really upset when I woke up. And then the other one.
He cares, everybody.
Yeah,
he cares.
There is something in there.
Oh man.
And then the other one, this one has to do with at least it was cool. Oh, this is you quoting you. At least it was a cool, not lame way to die. And there's a tombstone that says, "Here lies Basil Podcasterson Rosewater," and it's got two googly eyes with the eyes X'd out. So that's dead Basil.
That would be the best headstone. Very good. Thank you very much, producer Grace.
Yes. She's got a couple more here, and this is another quote. Michael Steele, is that William Steele, the jewel thief's brother? That was my quote.
Was that Michael Steele? Was he a producer last episode? I seem to remember something.
I think he was in a story. The stories we had. We got to look. Grace would know. We'll just let her remind us at some point.
Yeah.
I think Michael Steele's in a story. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
The other one says, "I'm picturing Darth Vader. Come with me, and we will rule the world." That was another one, and that was I forget what that was. Oh, that the voter fraud.
Oh, yeah. It says Michael Steele here. This one had to do with the Time article, The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign that saved the 2020 election, about a voting fraud, and Norm Eisen recruited Republicans and Democrats to the Board of Voter Protection Program.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. We that's one of the things that I don't think people realize is doing the show now at this point. We've gone through so many news stories.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time remembering everything we've gone through. A lot of times I have to be reminded.
I noticed sometimes we have to delete some stories that are put in there, stuff that we've already covered.
I know.
But yeah, it's interesting. This show does a weird thing to our brains, and I think it's doing something similar to our listeners, which is we go through so many stories. I mean, on the graphic that producer Grace made for us, the 2020 wrap up. I mean, I think we had read over 1,600 articles or over 1,300 articles last year, and it just keeps going. And what it's doing, it's like compiling and categorizing and stuffing all of this information into our brains that we tend to have the ability to recall pretty well. But sometimes, a name or a story is just floating around in there and not quite categorized correctly.
Yeah, but then when I'm reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, we did cover this and that sort of thing. Yeah, and then we boast about it. We told you, even though we don't remember it. Okay, this last one from Grace. This is so she clarified the 6 and 8-year-old there. This is my 8-year-old niece's art from the last episode. I think both the 6 and 8-year-old are nieces.
Ah, great.
She watched with me. This was the show background with the skull. You guys are at your Drake's doing the show. Gons and baby Kay in his arms. Her favorite part was when the baby was passed to the babysitter and it was passed behind the Canary Cry logo and was gone. I think that just happened again right now, by the way. Also, Gandalf for chicken in the corner.
Ah, yes, Gandalf the chicken.
Yeah, there's Gandalf in the corner there and the giant skull. Very well done.
Thank you very much, 8-year-old niece.
Very good. Next up here, thank you, Producer Grace. We always appreciate all the artwork. This one is from producer Quantum Solace, and it's what's the name of the show? I'm totally blanking.
It's King of the Hill.
King of the Hill, thank you. And it's two scenes from King of the Hill. Oh gosh, I used to somewhat watch this show, and I forget all the characters' names.
Yeah,
Hank Hill is me.
Yes, she's they've added your facial hair on Hank and changed Hank's hair, and
I'm wearing
you've got a shirt that says Revelations 13, but the S is crossed out because of course.
Yeah.
And who's the character I'm supposed to be?
I'm trying to remember the character names here.
Dale? Is that Dale?
I think Dale is on the left. He's the one that talks and mumbles. He's the one that mumbles, right?
Okay.
So I'm saying it's barely 12:30 and already Gavin Newsom ain't right. And everyone's saying, yep. Drinking our beers. And then, oh gosh, what is his name on the left? The one that mumbles, he says, dang, I told you, man, that dang old Elon man talking about brains remind me of them dang zombies, man, talking about them. And I say, well said.
It is Dale. I am Dale.
You're Dale. Okay.
Yes, I am Dale with a big fake gray beard and my googly eyes.
Who's the guy that mumbles? I forget his name.
I don't know. I'm
Somebody
just
in the
looking.
chat.
Would you like me to individually look up all the King of the Hill characters?
I'm trying. I have the thing pulled up, but I just can't find all the name. Bill is I think the guy on the far right. I thought Dale.
Yeah. This is excruciating.
This
Boomhauer. His name is Boomhauer.
Boomhauer. Thank you.
How did I find that quicker than you?
I don't know.
Have to poke a keyboard with one digital finger.
I'm on Wikipedia, which has like a giant essay on the show, and I just
oh my gosh, the chat is very familiar with all these names. We should just listen to the chat.
I know,
we don't
the
need
chat's
to
so
Google
much
any
easier.
of our own stuff.
And I think Bill on the right, is that Bill on the right? Chat?
Yes.
Okay, he says, so how's this starting at 9 a.m. thing coming along for you two?
And I'm saying, shut up, Bill. Yeah, it's not working great.
Well, I'm ready, usually.
Yeah. That's why when I get on at 10, it still takes us to 11:30 to go.
Yeah, well, that's waiting on you. Put on T-shirts and stuff.
Oh, don't even. Don't listen to him, folks.
Let me go. Put on my pants.
Shifting.
That's like half the time.
Blame shifting. All right. Thank you very much to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. I think we already said that, but you can never thank Jade Bouncerson too many times. True. And I want to remind everybody that the Canary Cry Silver giveaway is still going on. And some people started to get the message after I mentioned it last episode. We are giving away 1 troy ounce of fine silver, so generously provided by producer Aaron Moffat. Make sure to search out Aaron Moffat on YouTube. They do some great videos on scripture, eschatological conversations, precious metals, and crypto. Check it out, Aaron Moffat on YouTube. And there you go. Now, there's a very specific way how to enter the drawing, and it's easy. It's so easy. Here's what you do. It's social media. You're going to whatever social media you use. You're going to create a post, say something nice about Canary Cry News Talk. Use the hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, you must use the hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and then post a link in that post to some of our material. And this is a great way to spread the word about the show and get you entered into the Canary Cry Silver giveaway. And there is a nice little handful of people who participated since last show. But don't forget, because this is going to go all through February. And for every post that you do those 3 things, say something nice, use the hashtag, and post a link, you will get 1 entry into the drawing for the silver coin. And so you can do it as many times as you want. Just make sure that you say something nice, hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and post a link. And we're very excited to give away this silver. Thank you again to Aaron Moffat, producer Aaron Moffat. Okay, anything else before we start the show?
Yeah, I just want to mention, just for clarity's sake, I didn't steal Basil's shirt. I actually paid for one of these shirts. I was waiting for it, so
okay.
Just
well, that's
clarify.
Probably yours then. Yeah,
good, because
somebody said they were sending us shirts.
Okay.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
All right.
Okie dokie. Time to wake up, folks. Gons, I've been craving some 33 updates. What's going on in the world of 33?
Completion of the great war.
It's Basil stepping on 33 jingles.
The jingle stepped on me.
All 33 jingles. Okay, so there's a few 33 updates to give here. This first one, local10.com. Coast Guard says flags cross alerted them to woman, 2 men on uninhabited island for 33 days.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I believe the story, it says here that, this is like one of those, what's that movie with Tom Hanks where he's lost on an island? He was talking to Wilson.
Castaway.
This is like a real life Castaway situation. The U.S. Coast Guard found a woman.
Why would they want to be rescued? It sounds like they finally escaped. They did what everybody has been trying to do.
Maybe they escaped.
No COVID restrictions, no lockdowns, just you and a bunch of coconuts.
That is true. They're like, we rescued you. Put on a mask. Go inside. Go inside your house.
Stay in this
hermetically sealed room.
White tent for 14 days. Slave.
Yeah, maybe they were trying to escape the Epstein underground base there too.
Ooh,
the U.S. Coast Guard found a woman and 2 men stranded on an uninhabited Bahamian island between Key West and Cuba.
Bahamian. Okay.
I'm going to say Bahamian.
Why? Okay, you can say whatever you want.
I don't think it's Bahamian, is it? Is it Bahamian?
In the Bahamas.
Bahamian.
Oh my gosh.
I just corrected you. The machine spoke.
How'd you spell it?
No, look, I just did the speech thing.
Bahamian.
Okay. But not Bohemian, which is what you first said.
No. Oh, did I say Bohemian?
Yeah, you did. It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, according to these the news release from the Coast Guard, a Coast Guard serves Station Miami HC 144 Ocean Sentry first spotted the trio waving a makeshift flag while they were on a routine patrol Monday. The crew dropped food, water, and a radio so they could speak with them, and yada yada. They saved them. The 3 Cuban nationals were stranded in the Anguilla Cay, Bahama Banks' island off the southeast end of Cay Sal's Bank. Lieutenant Justin Doherty said they were there for 33 days after their boat had capsized in rough waters.
Interesting.
They were able to swim to the island.
And for those who are new to the show and might not know, 33 has been identified as a Illuminati dog whistle number. You know, it's a communication number that shows up in plain sight to communicate certain things. We're not exactly sure what the message is, but when 33 shows up, keep your eyes open.
Yeah, and it says here that is pretty extraordinary. It was incredible. Nice. Doherty said, adding, it was probably on coconuts. See, it's weird because the story, I don't know if it's missing a sentence somewhere. Like, how did they survive? It just talks about coconuts all of a sudden.
It says they were on coconuts.
I don't know how they did it. I'm amazed they were in such good shape.
They went cocoa nuts.
They went cocoa nuts. But yeah, there you go. Surviving 33 days on a lost island on coconuts.
That sounds like a nice little vacay.
Yeah. But we got a couple more 33 updates here.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
This is from prnewswire.com. Prospect 33 announces the acquisition of New York consultancy 8 of 9 Consulting. Now, what is Prospect 33?
Yeah.
It is what they do. They provide strategic advisory services and execution capabilities to financial institutions in realizing their digital business model ambitions. They enable strategic and innovative digital operation models and processed solutions where business efficiency has been hindered by organizational complexity.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're like a consulting agency, I guess, on digital stuff. And they're buying up all these companies. So look out, Prospect 33. If that wasn't some kind of signaling, I don't know what is. But it was founded by Tom Spouse in Washington, D.C. in 2005.
We're on to you, Tom.
Tom. And established a solid reputation in technology and finance services. So there you go. It's been around for a little while. And let's see, one more 33 update.
Is the number of completion of the Great War.
This one's a little happier. KTVB.com. 33 dogs, 3 birds rescued in Boise. Idaho Humane has taken in 32 papillions.
This is like the second or third time that 33 dogs have been rescued.
Yeah, what is up with that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
32.
All these stories about 33 dogs getting rescued.
Well, they're people too. 32 Papillons and 1 Labrador Retriever and 3 parakeets from their owners, vulnerable seniors who could no longer keep up with their care. So, and it's got a picture of one of the dogs there with just the very trashed. There's like a Wheaties box on the ground that's probably been there for a few years. Lots of bottle caps.
Ah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but yeah, I mean, at least they're in a happier place.
Okay.
Whoa, what just happened?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Whoa,
weird. you're so tiny.
No, something that was very bizarre. I had like a phone call, like a FaceTime come in, and it like shrank my video camera. Weird.
Yeah. Well, while you figure that out, want to talk about the whack gene?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta fix myself here. I'll do it in a moment.
Play the
a pandemic special.
If you're working alone, wear a mask. The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
That's right. And this is coming from publicnow.com. And the headline is UPN students design a robot that can detect people without face masks. It's kind of a flippy update as well. A team of electronic engineering students from UPN has designed a remote-controlled robot prototype that can recognize people not wearing face masks and collect disused masks from the ground using its robotic arm. The students created the prototype to monitor and safeguard hygiene security measures in public spaces with large crowds of people. It is anticipated that the robot will help prevent the spread of COVID-19, not only by identifying people who are not wearing masks and reiterating a message on the importance of protection, but also recognizing public areas contaminated with disused masks. Contaminated with disused. That's interesting. Weird word choice. Not used masks or discarded or misused. It's disused. Therefore, reducing the risk.
Brand new masks that just got thrown on the ground.
Yeah. Therefore, reducing the risk of infection among cleaners. The robot design took 3 months to complete, with the students working across applied robotics, artificial intelligence, and the concept behind the Internet of Things. The team's design won first place in a national competition that rewards young Peruvians for their social innovation projects and use sustainable technology. Okay, these are Peruvians. The project is undergoing registration with the National Institute for the Defense of Competition and the Protection of Intellectual Property. The students hope to test the robot prototype at UPN when face-to-face classes resume, and then carry out a formal pilot in health centers. We congratulate the student team of Johnny Caliche, Jorge Vesunia, Juan Garjate, and Fabian Yarleque. Yarleque. For using their education and skills to respond to the ongoing challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and helping to make the world a better place. So there you go. This is a group of students who created. Now, we've seen facial recognition being used on mask disusers, but this one has an applied robotics use, which will pick up disused masks. So there you go. All those eco-warriors complaining about masks littering the countryside. Robots are here to save you.
Always robots. What does it do once they identify people without masks?
It puts them in handcuffs. It grabs them with the robotic arm, handcuffs them.
Slaps them.
Slaps them across the face.
That's why the masks are on the ground.
And calls them mean names. Shames them. It mask shames them.
You are bad human. All right. Here's another mask situation from the big game.
If you're working alone, wear a mask. The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
This is a press conference that was on Monday. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said that maskless fans at the Super Bowl will be identified by law enforcement and that police will handle the situation. Here's a short clip.
The majority of individuals that I saw out and about enjoying the festivities associated with the Super Bowl were complying. You know, we had tens of thousands of people all over the city, downtown, out by the stadium, Ybor City, down here in Channelside, and very, very few incidents. So I'm proud of our community, but those few bad actors will be identified, and the Tampa Police Department will handle it.
Does that include Tampa Mayor Jane Castor here? Because after this presser was shared around, a picture of Jane Castor maskless at the Super Bowl.
Busted.
Once again, politicians.
It's reminiscent of Fauci at a baseball game without his mask on.
Yeah. And then everybody defending him. He's by his families and there's nobody around. It's the optics. It's these politicians, man. They just
they think they're above the law.
I guess. Yeah, this is another one of those situations. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
At this point, don't they know that they're being watched 24/7? Basically, these politicians.
They want to be seen. They're freaky like that.
Okay, weird. All right. This next one's a little more serious, relevant. Sure.
Yes.
A pandemic special.
CBSNews.com HWO WHO team in Wuhan says extremely unlikely COVID-19 came from a lab.
Liar!
Which means it probably came from a lab. Conclusion before the story, but go ahead.
With just days left in their month-long visit to Wuhan, the World Health Organization's team of COVID-19 experts co-hosted their first press conference on Tuesday to share some key findings from the hunt for the coronavirus's origin. Now, remember that the World Health Organization has been trying to get into Wuhan to investigate this for a year.
Yeah.
And they were just let in like a month ago or something. And so, I don't know, batten down the hatches before we let the World Health Organization in. But the article continues. The biggest takeaway from the nearly 3-hour event was that the scientists believe it's extremely unlikely a lab-related accident was the source of the pandemic. And all current evidence continues to point to a natural reservoir. Yeah, it's extremely unlikely that the pandemic started within blocks of a lab that studies gain of function on coronaviruses and this
in bats in particular.
And bats, and this current coronavirus just happens to have gained a function versus all other coronaviruses. It's just a coincidence, folks. Extremely unlikely that it came from that lab. The next step said WHO lead investigator and food safety expert Peter Ben Embarek would be to, quote, look at the possible pathways of introduction of the virus into the human population and for any evidence that it might have made that jump into humans earlier than currently known. After weeks in Wuhan, the team was still unable to answer the overarching question of where COVID-19 came from. Notice how we haven't heard anything about the wet market either.
Yeah, that is interesting. That was quote, normally where it was said to have come from.
Yeah, well, it was so, I mean, the Wuhan lab is blocks away from a wet market. And, of course, when conspiracy theorists said that,
showed documents of the NIH funding that
a Fauci-funded lab in Wuhan that specifically experiments on giving coronaviruses extra power
in 2015, so 4 years ago,
right? Just
4 years ago. What year are we in? 6 years ago. Sorry, go ahead.
Happens to be blocks away from a wet market, which is not something we have here in the U.S., but it's where you just buy live animals or recently deceased animals, that weird animals. So like, this is where you buy your pangolins and your bats and things like that. Anyways, moving on. Quote, from the early days of December 2019, did we change dramatically the picture we had beforehand? Ben Embarek, a Dutch food safety expert, asked rhetorically, quote, I don't think so. Did we improve our understanding? Did we add details to that story? Absolutely.
So basically admitting that they added things to the narrative.
Did we add details? Yes,
did
absolutely.
We add details? Yes, we did.
The
truth wants to come out.
Virologist Marian Koopmans, also of the Netherlands, and Liang Wanyan of China's National Health Commission spoke on stage to discuss methodology and results at the briefing, which was broadcast on television and social media around the world. Speaking for the WHO's international team, Ben Embarek laid out 4 hypotheses about COVID-19's origin and said the most likely pathway, in the scientists' view, was that the virus spread to humans through an intermediary species that lives close to human populations. He said that theory, like the others, quote, will require more targeted research. Less likely, but still possible, is the notion that the coronavirus jumped directly from a primary source animal into humans. Many scientists believe COVID-19 originally came from a certain species of bats, but they aren't easily found in Wuhan.
Except for in labs.
Except at the wet market. A third hypothesis is food chain transmission, with the virus originating elsewhere and then riding into central China on the surfaces of cold chain frozen food packaging. The least likely theory, according to the WHO team, is a lab-related incident, but the scientists that said that was, quote, not a hypothesis that would imply future study into the origin of the virus.
Oh, okay. What? So
what does that mean?
I think they mean even if there was a lead, they're not going to pursue it.
We're not going to study it.
It's
even if that was our hypothesis, it would not imply future study into the origin of the virus. The least likely theory.
That's what I'm saying. When you read this, I know this is CBS News, but anybody with a critical mind would sit there and go, "Why?"
You just have to. It takes an intentional handing over of your own logic and common sense to believe these people. Yeah. You have to want to believe it. And, a lot of people want to believe it. Okay. Quote, accidents do happen, admitted Ben Embarek, when challenged on why a laboratory, such as the often mentioned Wuhan Virology Institute, had been ruled out as the source of the virus. He said there had been, quote, no reports of this coronavirus or one closely linked to it being worked on in any lab in the world. Okay.
That
is
straight up a lie, isn't it?
That is exactly opposite of what was, I think, didn't we find a clip or an article of Fauci himself talking about this lab reporting or experimenting on coronaviruses?
I don't remember if there was a clip, but we certainly found the documents. That was very early
Yeah.
on. That was like last summer.
Yeah, that was like a year ago. He stressed that, quote, it was very unlikely anything could escape from the maximum biosecurity facility in Wuhan, and lab accidents in general, he said, quote, are extremely rare events.
Sounds like they don't want to tell the truth.
Just because it's extremely rare doesn't mean that it can't happen. I mean, how is a lab accident less rare than a mutant virus going from animal to animal and then finally making it to a human being? I mean, this whole thing is extremely rare event. 2020 was an extremely rare event. Just because something is extremely rare doesn't mean that you should stop investigating that hypothesis. Anyways, during the course of the WHO's month-long stay in China, the team has pushed for access to new evidence, and they did visit a now well-known sites, including the Huanan Seafood Market, once believed to be ground zero, along with the Wuhan Institute of Virology and hospitals that treated the first coronavirus patients. Whenever new information becomes available, said WHO expert Koopmans, quote, we can take this again and say, okay, with this new information, does our assessment of these different entry pathways change? Quote, that could be any time because there are ongoing studies on different parts of the world, Koopmans noted. As WHO's, so I love that. They're just like, yeah, we don't think so right now, but that could change at any moment. So, whatever. Don't listen to what we say now. As the WHO's allotted time window, As the WHO's allotted time window in China, they got 1 month visas, winds down. That's a weird way to put that, but okay. The scientists stress that there could still be years of investigation left to do before the COVID-19 origin is determined, if it ever is. We may never know. The WHO team's visit was delayed for months by Chinese officials who never offered any real explanation. Okay, yeah, great. Let's throw in this last little sentence to just make sure everybody knows that it's very suspicious that China, I guess it's not incorrect to say it was delayed for months. It was delayed for like 10 months. But okay. Only journalists physically in Wuhan at the event on Tuesday were allowed to ask questions of the WHO team. The press conference was only announced early on Tuesday morning. Face-to-face interviews, even socially distanced, with members of the international team were not permitted. Yeah, don't ask questions. We'll tell you what we're going to tell you.
You know what this sounds like to me? No. Is that these WHO people were there and they were told, if you say anything, if you even hint at the possibility that it came from our lab, you will not leave.
And they're in custody of the Chinese government.
Yeah.
They're not just wandering around. They're being led around by Chinese officials.
Yeah, this is very suspicious.
They're only being shown and brought to places that the Chinese government wants and allows them to be shown. The only evidence that they get to look at is the evidence that the Chinese officials let them look at. Yeah, this whole thing is a big show.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
The suspiciousness of the Chinese government is enough to set off everybody's alarm bells. But no, don't ask questions. Don't go off script. Just say what we told you to say.
You know, and I think a lot of people, and I don't even blame the WHO team here, because can you imagine being sent on this assignment and knowing that if you don't comply to certain rules that you may never come home? You know, that's the level of
it's dangerous to even go into China. I mean, it's just because the government can do whatever they want with you. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Welcome to Chinese Show! Liar!
Just calling it out. All right.
You want to bring us our last story here?
Last story is the Space Pope Reptilian.
Space Pope Reptilian?
And this is AmericaMagazine.org.
AmericaMagazine.org.
but if you look carefully, this is America the Jesuit Review. Yeah, sneaky.
Oh, americamagazine.org, America, the Jesuit Review. Wow.
Pope Francis in 2021. Vaccines, fraternity, and hope are the medicine we need. It says here, the COVID-19 pandemic can either be a catalyst for change for the better, or it will weaken a world already burdened by global crisis, Pope Francis said. The pandemic not only had a significant effect on people's way of living, it also shed light on the risks and consequences inherent in a way of life dominated by selfishness and a culture of waste, the Pope said February 8th during his annual meeting with diplomats accredited to the Holy See.
So ironic for the Vatican to rail against greed.
I know. The COVID-19 pandemic, he said, quote, set before us a choice, either to continue on the road we have followed until now, or to set out on a new path. What is this, a video game with multiple endings?
Notice how in this picture as well, there's about maybe a dozen diplomats of some kind, important people. I noticed that. There's about 5 to 10 cardinals following behind the Pope. Everybody is masked except for the Pope.
Except for Pope.
Super spreader.
He's not human.
Space Pope super spreader.
Super spreader reptilian.
Yeah.
Okay, let me continue on here. It's a nearly hour-long speech to members of the diplomatic corps. The Pope listed a series of crises, quote, that were provoked or brought to light by the pandemic as a way to reflect on the opportunities the global community had to build, quote, a more humane, just, supportive, and peaceful world. The health crisis sparked by COVID-19, he said, forced the world to confront two, quote, unavoidable dimensions of human existence, suffering and death, which serve as a reminder of the value of life, quote, from conception in the womb until its natural end. However, the Pope said it was painful that, quote, a growing number of legal systems in our world seem to be moving away from their inalienable duty to protect human life as every one of its phases, or at every one of its phases. Pope Francis emphasized that the human right to dignity extends to all, especially the most vulnerable, and renewed his appeal to government leaders to, quote, ensure universal access to basic health care. Quote, concern for profit should not be guiding a field as sensitive as that of healthcare, the Pope said. The pandemic, he continued, also shed light on the current environmental crisis and has shown, quote, that the earth itself is fragile and in need of care. Direct and indirect consequences of climate change, including droughts, floods, malnutrition, and respiratory diseases, he added, are the product of, quote, prolonged inaction. Quote, overcoming these crises demands international cooperation in caring for our common home. It is thus my hope that the next United Nations Climate Change Conference, to take place in Glasgow, Scotland next November, will lead to effective agreement in addressing the consequences of climate change, he said. You know, how long have they been complaining about climate change and they still haven't gotten anything done, really? Doesn't it seem like if it was a real thing that they would get something done by now?
We need a great reset, guys.
Why do they always complain that nothing is being done? I don't know. Anyway.
That is true. It seems like a lot is being done. I mean, whole economies are being restructured.
I know. They're resetting the whole economy. Isn't that enough, Pope? The economic difficulties that followed pandemic restrictions and caused many businesses to close, quote, highlighted another illness of our time, that of an economy based on the exploitation and waste of both people and natural resources, the Pope said, calling for a, quote, new Copernican revolution. Pope Francis told, okay, by the way, you know our cube story?
Yeah.
Earlier? That had the
Copernicus Institute, right?
Yeah. So there you go. There's some connections. Told the diplomatic corps. I wish they spelled the corpse a little differently. That way it would be just dead diplomats.
Is it supposed to be core?
Yeah, I guess it's core.
Okay.
That the world needs a new kind of economy that is, quote, at the service of men and women and not vice versa. He also said the economic stability must be ensured to, quote, avoid the scourge of exploitation.
Scourge.
Of exploitation, especially among the poor and unemployed, many of whom are driven by desperation and end up trapped in forced labor, prostitution, and various criminal activities, including human trafficking. Wow. And it goes on and on and on and on and on here. Let me get to the end of it here. This is a long... he just basically rewrote his entire speech here. Quote, 2021 is a time that must not be wasted, Pope Francis said. Quote, I am convinced that fraternity is the true cure for the pandemic. And
he loves this word, the fraternity, which is brotherhood, brotherly love, basically, or
love, bromance. What if he said bromance? I am convinced bromance.
That's basically what he's saying. He loves bromance.
And the many evils that have affected us, along with vaccines, fraternity, and hope, are, as it were, the medicine we need in today's world. And my response to this was, hey, Pope, and Jesuit Review for that matter, how about Jesus for hope? How about Jesus as medicine that we need? Not vaccines and fraternities.
Was not mentioned.
No, Jesus was never mentioned once. Come on, Pope.
Yeah, but he's one of these popular popes. You don't get popular with the non-Catholics by pushing Jesus all the time.
Yeah, Romans 15:13, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope. That's all we need. We don't need vaccines and bromance.
We need bromance, hopium, and vaccines.
Is what the Pope and the Jesuit Review are saying we must have to fix the world.
There we go.
As part of the New World Order. It's a big psyop.
Psyops. Okie dokie. Well, there you go, folks. Anything else, Gons?
I think that's it. I better get to...
Okay.
There was a story that maybe we'll get to next time, maybe we won't, but CDC confirms that double masking significantly helps prevent spread of COVID-19.
Oh my gosh, back and forth and back and forth. Please. Yeah. All right, folks, there you go. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Keep an eye out because we're going to be circling back on Friday, February 12th. We need to, I should have talked to you about this beforehand. We got to figure out timing on Friday. Might get a little squirrely.
Okay.
So we will be going live on Friday, February 12th. Keep an eye out on the social media and things like that for the exact timing. But there you go. Put it on your calendar. If you haven't done it yet, make sure to like this broadcast on YouTube. It helps us manipulate the algos for our own personal gain. So if you're still watching by now, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a show.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. And again, I want to thank all of our producers, last minute and otherwise. Thank you so much for making this episode 298 possible. And to run through the list, thank you, producers Andrew M. Nelson, Tinkerman, Lance, William M., Benjamin S., Sylvan Handwovens, Zephyr Books and Coffee, the McBroom family, Ciara, David M., and Cynthia F., as well as Michael C., our crypto producer for this episode. Thank you guys so much. Thank you also to all of our artists and jingle makers, and of course to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. We could not do the show without you folks. And that goes for Friday's show as well. And maybe you have been thinking about breaking free from the stranglehold of advertising, participating in a value for value model, media economy. Remember, we've seen CNBC, MSN, Washington Post, all of these mainstream news outlets. They're starting to catch on that this advertising thing is a dangerous proposition for them. And now they're even asking for, quote, donations. And that's the difference, folk. There are charity cases. You donate to the mainstream. But when it comes to Canary Cry News Talk and shows on the value for value model, you become producers, official producers supporters of the show. And if you have been thinking about becoming a producer, or maybe the Lord's laying it on your heart, or if you appreciate the show, you want to see it keep going, or you just want to break free from the mind control yourself, go ahead and become a producer of the show by heading to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, or canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support. There's PayPal options, monthly options, one-time options, and everybody's favorite, crypto options. So there you go. As long as producers keep producing, we will keep doing the show. So thank you very much. There's other ways to support the show. You can create jingles, create art, make songs. The Canary Cry mixtape plays at the end of the show here, so stick around for that. Whatever your creative outlet is, create something for the show, by the show, on the show, whatever it is. You can send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com or canarycryradio@protonmail.com if you're into the privacy thing. So there you go. Make sure to do that. We always love featuring creative works of our producers on the show. Now, what?
It's true.
Oh, yeah. And let's see here. You can also support the show in a lot of other ways, like sharing it out on your social media. Now is a great time. February is a great time to post Canary Cry News Talk on your social media, because if you say something nice, use the hashtag Canary Cry News Talk and post a link to one of the episodes or something like that, you'll get entered into the Canary Cry Silver giveaway for February. So do that. You can do it as many times as you want over the month here. And at the end of the month, we will be announcing who the winner is. And thank you to Aaron Moffat. Make sure to check them out on YouTube. Okay, let's see here. And if you have anything, if you have any other, well, let's see here. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead and leave ratings and reviews. That's also very helpful. I'll be reading ratings and reviews on Fridays, and that goes a long way to convincing the iTunes algorithms and AI robots to share the show with people who have not heard it before. Plus, we read them all, so it makes us feel all warm and fuzzy. Now, also, you got friends, you got family. You need to rattle their cage. They've been waking up to the fact that the world is not what it seems, and you can help them out by letting them know about Canary Cry News Talk. And if you need any other instructions, here's what you do. You grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah, folks. Gons, any last words?
Nope. Thank you for all the producers out there. It is the way.
This is the way.
That's right. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, make sure to circle back around on Friday, February 12th. Keep an eye out for the notification or our social media for times. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Demonic power!
It will kill.
Everybody loves waffles.
Petit circle.
Look it up.
Call that. I tried to tell you.
Sinful generation!
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people zoo.
We will launch a new age.
Hallelujah.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I wanna shake things up, shake things up. I wanna shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone.
I wanna stir up some controversy. I wanna rattle a few cages. I wanna rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
That's where I started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered.
Just put me on some, I don't know.
Give you a shot in the butt. Fluoride, oxytocin. Get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
All right, weird.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick. Tick. Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic. Politic. Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you always.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick. Tick. Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic. Politic. Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politic, politician. Politic, politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way.
Left wing. Right wing. 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 Left wing. Right wing.
Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Same bird.
Polly. Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick. Tick. Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic. Politic. Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politic, politician. Politic, politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. 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 Don't let them drain you all the way.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. It might seem scary, so frightening. Get ready for it. Don't push your buttons. Get in your spaceship. It will be over. Get in already. It will be started. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Now!
It's a bodega. Don't get me started.
There's nothing to watch on my color TV. None of the snooze is what I want to see. A
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.